live Korean people and culture weekly live stream with David Kim. Hey guys, how have you been? Let me know where you guys are all watching from. Right now in Seoul, South Korea, it is 4 past midnight. It is April 20th. The cherry blossoms have all gone, and it's a warm spring, a little chilly in the night, but yeah, it's fantastic weather. But yeah, let me know what you guys have been up to. How is it over there in wherever you are all around the world? And if you're new to the channel, obviously we talk about Korean culture, Korean news, K-pop, K-entertainment, everything related to the K. So in today's live stream, we're going to be talking about a wide spectrum of topics, starting with always K-pop updates, starting with updates about Big Bang, the legendary group that came back in Coachella. And speaking of Coachella, K-pop having its own Coachella, K-Coachella itself. Japan singing the Arirang at the Tokyo Dome. Wow. And record high foreign visitors in Korea in Q1. BTS making their own ramen. Okay, and then the main news of today, Johnny Somali, the controversial YouTuber, finally being sentenced to prison. Okay, how much did he get? Did he deserve that much? Or did he deserve more? That's the question. When do Koreans say I love you? Love bombing in Korea. If you've been in Korea, if you fell in love with a Korean guy, be careful. So yeah, I'm going to be going into the psychology behind all of that. Along with that, we have a lot of topics like the most important leggings. Yes, the most important. All these kind of things. Kimchi maga, topic, you know, blah, 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 blah. All these kind of things. So yes, I bet you guys are excited. Hello, everybody. Gladys, welcome. Dallas, Texas. Hello, Gigi Wolf. 10:05 a.m. in Illinois. Finally, we're talking about Johnny Somali. Okay, people are very excited about that man. Yeah, and Ryan, hello, in Rochester, New York. All right, 8:35 p.m. in India. Good evening, Haraboji. Okay. Oh, I'm Haraboji. MJS, hi from Canada. Thank you for subscribing to my membership. Okay, NYC, Indiana Cutie, Natoster. Good afternoon from the UK. And please support the stream at paypal.me/KoreanPizzaclub. It really helps me going on with these live streams. And don't forget to like and subscribe before we go on. Okay, guys. Yeah. So without further ado, let's go on with today's K-pop update. So yes, as everybody has seen for the past few weeks, Coachella was on fire. There were so many iconic stages, including Justin Bieber, and his YouTube sets, and Billie Eilish going on stage and all that. There was Sabrina Carpenter, very iconic stages, but as the time goes on, Coachella and the K-pop links and the connections have becoming stronger. The presence of the K music in Coachella Valley Music Festival have been growing stronger and stronger. And this year it was at its peak because the legendary group Big Bang came back as a full member group. I mean, they were originally 5, but because of controversies now, the full member group is counted as 3. GD, Taeyang, and Taesung. They came back at Coachella with an iconic comeback. You have to see it. It was about an hour. They did all their legendary songs like Haru Haru, Lies, Bang Bang Bang, Fantastic Baby. GD did his own solos like Power. Taeyang did his own solos, Linga Linga. GD and Taeyang together, Good Boy. Taesung especially hyped the crowd up by exporting K-Trot at Coachella. That was crazy. So he was the first person to actually promote trot music in the States at a very massive stage like Coachella. And the aura was amazing. So yeah, let's do a quick recap on how it looked like. The cultural significance was amazing. Look at it. Look at GD over here in his iconic fur coat. Their presence was just really, crazy. Like, look at Taeyang over here with his abs being very, very, just showing. And Taesung, with his very bubbly and bright vibes, singing to Trot. Like, nobody would have imagined that would happen in K-pop history or this world, right? And we go on with Cat's Eye. There was definitely Cat's Eye. Yeah, Cat's Eye was amazing with Golden as well too. EJ, Rayami, and Audrey Nuna all together came up as like a special feat on the Cat's Eye stage, singing Golden together. That was amazing. Yeah, and there was Temin as well too. So a lot of K-pop influence in Coachella indeed to this festival. But I would say the highlight was definitely Big Bang. They stole the show. It was just amazing. So how did you like Coachella? What was your favorite stage? Let me know. My favorite was definitely Taesung because he just showed what K-Trot is to the world, and I saw a lot of reels, TikToks, making parodies of K-Trot, the tunes of it, like nobody's ever heard of that before. So it was just very, very fun, and I thought it was very iconic. There were other K-pop acts relatively, in regards to Blackpink members. Lisa was on Anima's stage. Yeah, it was a very iconic stage as well. Rose was there in the audience, just enjoying as a crowd. She was. I think she was performing. Like she was a part of Blackpink's performance back then, and Jenny was there too. I think they're just skipping this year, but yeah, definitely a lot of K-pop presence happening in Coachella over here this year. So yeah, what was your favorite stage, guys? Let me know. And oh yeah, I think the chat is weirdly enough frozen. Let me just fix this real quick before we go on to the next news over here. Yeah, this has been malfunctioning for a while here. I don't know for some reason, but in order for me to read your chats, let me just refresh that. Hopefully that will do the trick. But reading it over here, Lisa giving tequila shots. Taesung was your favorite. Yes. It was great, of course. Good morning from Alaska. Finally catching your live. Welcome, welcome. And it was definitely awesome. Yes, everybody agrees that Big Bang's show was super, super great. Ryan says, was quite surprised by Taesung's Trot performance. I know, right? Like, he has the balls. He really just didn't give an F about, what he's supposed to perform, what would vibe, what would fly, what would be popular. He's just like, 안녕하세요, 대성입니다. He's just like, yeah, yeah, aura farming there. I think Big Bang must get their fanfare from live performances because G Dragon still has really overrated singing. Well, that's your own opinion. I mean, I do agree that G Dragon's singing style or like his vocal range or his style has changed over the years because like maybe he does heavy smoking in a lot, but his voices has sunk in a little bit. It's gotten deeper. He's now more focused on putting ad libs in the performances. It's universal for all the artists, to be honest. Like if you see all these rock bands, as they get older and as they get mature and as they like go into their careers, they don't really fully sing the vocals. They put in more ad libs. They make more variations. So I think it's totally fine. Yeah, it's a evolution in the artistic display of what they want to present on stage. Yeah, Taesung and Taeyang sounded good though. Yeah, of course. Taeyang is just, always a 10 out of 10. Like no matter what. Taesung, his vocal range is always crazy. GD is aging. Yeah, it's a fact. Hey, JME, David, it's been a while. Finally got to catch your live here at work, listening to your live while working before my med pass. Oh no, fighting. I don't know where you are, but it's a weekend. I'm sorry that you have to be working, but I'm sure it's important work, so fighting. Yes, love the shirt today, by the way. This is the Coldplay. Yeah, Coldplay merch. Yes. Anyways, okay. Yeah, let's go on to the next topic over here for K-pop. So this is very interesting. Korea's been building its own Coachella. So Coachella with the K, Coachella. Yeah, so what's happening over here? So we've seen news in the past that JYP has been designated or announced as one of the big names of like the K-pop initiative the government and JYP is doing collectively together. But if you look into it, so SM Entertainment, JYP, YG, and HYBE are teaming up to build Korea's own Coachella. These are the big four. As you guys all know, some people might be complaining, why isn't there Starship? Why isn't there whatever, RBW? Why isn't there Kakao? But these are the big four. Everyone knows that, right? So I think it is what it is. And Park Jin-young, JYP, named the project Fanomenon. I think it's a nice name, a phenomenon, as in like something really happening, and the K wave is a phenomenon itself, and then the K-pop culture is heavily essential with the fan culture. Like fans compose, I think, more than half of the K-pop culture itself, and it differentiates pop culture and K-pop culture. So I think Phenomenon is a pretty good name, and the project is officially in motion now, aiming to create a global festival that could go beyond Coachella. Sky's the limit, right? Always be ambitious. Reports say that the four companies have already filed for a joint venture. Wow. With equal shares focused on large-scale concert planning. Okay, that is a very democratic process I am seeing over there. I wouldn't have expected to see them have equal shares and even a joint venture. That's going to be very complicated in terms of logistics, contracts, whatever, like our artist management. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe if they have a task force or whatever, please send me calls. But yes, the goal is to launch a massive music festival by 2027, so that is less than a year, featuring artists from all four labels. You can see Lisa over here. But wait, if all those artists show up, how many headlines are we even talking about? So it's definitely going to be the biggest K-pop festival ever. I mean, if Coachella is already having these big K-pop acts, it's about time we have our own joint big music festival, right? So I am totally for this initiative. I love the fact that the government is pushing it, and also JYP is the leader of it. I don't think anybody else deserves that spot other than JYP. I have my own reasons to it, but if you actually think about the other three leaders of the other big four, they all have their own little issues going on, okay? Yeah, so it's gonna be hard as F, like Jenny said. And yeah, we have yet to see any like details about this Phenomenon concert, but definitely we can know that it's going to be big scale just by the four companies all coming together. And yeah, we've been seeing K-pop acts in more global festivals, world tours, Lollapalooza, whatever it is. So why not we just do it ourselves, right? Why not we make a great festival and do a whole world version of it by ourselves? Not just, having to give credit or giving profit to other festival makers, right? So yeah, I think it's a very obvious thing. I don't know why we haven't done it yet, but like I think it's very amazing that the four companies can come together and make a consensus and a task force together to jumpstart this, and hopefully it becomes fruitful and successful. So if we were to guess some headliners for the Phenomenon, it's going to be crazy because of the fan wars, like, who comes first on the poster. But, it's pretty obvious. Like, they're the big names, they're the big fandoms. There might be little quarrels here and there, but yeah, obviously it's going to be BTS, Blackpink, then maybe Big Bang, and then Stray Kids, 17, ATEEZ, and then the other groups like TXT, ENHYPEN, whatever, all the HYBE big boy groups, and then there's IVE, there's like aespa, yeah, all the third gen, fourth gen groups. Hopefully New Jeans might come back until then. And yeah, it's going to be lit. So I'm totally looking forward to it. It would be iconic if Jenny, Lisa, Rose all came out as solos. So the lineup is going to be actually crazy. And then not only just K-pop, like the group band performances, but if we have K-indie as well too, wouldn't that be iconic if we had bands like Channabi, Hyogo all together, Wave to Earth, performing? So it'd be like the actual Korean version of a proper music festival, not just based on K-pop. And then we can actually import artists as well too from other countries. Like I heard there was an act on Coachella that was from a Philippines group, right? So we can invite them to our festival. We could invite other Asian groups to the festival as well too. Japanese J-rock groups. So it'll be like a global festival, and the host is Korea. I think it's about time now. We just don't stop at being like cultural exporters, but we make the platform, we make the hub, and then we import and we just invite other artists and just make a grand platform of our own. So like this is a very a very exciting project in my own eyes. Oh wow, we got a super chat. Patrick O'Brien, thank you so much for the $5. I'm gonna look so sus showing up to Fanomenon with my 2 dozen light sticks. Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be a scene because like there's so many artists there. Usually it's just one solo con, but if it's like BTS, Blackpink, Big Bang, you have your Bang Bong, you have your Army Bomb, you have your Blink Hammer, and you got everything all together, and you have one in each finger, and you're waving them all together, right? Yeah, so that's gonna be very fun, right? F Korea, okay, Walkman Assassin, yeah, whatever, live your life. Uh, yeah, would love to see BTS and Stray Kids at the same venue. Yes, and this also, speaking of, opens up doors for more iconic collabs. You know how I've always complained about bring back those Inkigayo year-end festivals and award shows where Big Bang and Wonder Girls used to collab together and do Tell Me together, and Girls' Generation, and who was it? Like, who was the counterpart for Girls' Generation? Did they ever collab with a boy group? I don't remember. Maybe it was TVXQ or something. These iconic groups coming together and just doing a co-stage. Wouldn't that be amazing? Phenomenal, right? Yeah, so, uh-huh. Those four already have such monopoly. I don't know what they will do next. Well, at least it's a fair competition amongst themselves now. At least they're all in for it together. They have the common interest, right? So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yes. Kelly is excited. JYP himself has to be the headliner, or I am not watching. Great point. So JYP is an active artist, and as the head, he could definitely make a special appearance. He could definitely be a performer. And there would be Psy as well too. Speaking of like solo acts, Psy would definitely be an iconic one to be on stage, and then I can see JYP with him. So it's gonna be very, very interested. And then like Rose's there too, so she might invite what is it? Bruno Mars over. BTS, if they're there, they might invite, I don't know, Chris Martin over, and all these cross collabs. Jungkook might invite Usher over, and all these. Yeah, like yeah, that would be amazing. Nicki Minaj, all the collabs that happened in the past. Jenny could invite Tame Impala. Wow, and GD could invite who is it? GD could invite the one that was in his music video. I forgot. Yeah, the name is just not popping up in my head. The Korean American. Tell me in the comments, please. Like I'm just like it's very late over here. My brain is fried. But yes, help me in the comments. I think the comments have stopped again. I don't know why that is happening, but let me refresh the comments one more time before we go on to the next segment over here. Let's see. Anderson Pack. Thank you so much, Anderson Pack. Yes, like imagine inviting all those global feats over to Phenomenon. That is going to be amazing. So I really wish that this becomes a successful thing. I do have my doubts because it is backed and kind of initiated by the government. But yeah, the government usually messes up stuff. But apparently, this president gives a lot of autonomy and authority to the real players in the scene. So yeah, that's why JYP has full authority over this project. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't become like one of those wastes of tax money and whatnot. Yeah, right. We all know when the government gets involved, it things get sloppy. They become, very un unattractive. Yeah, unattractive, right? Okay. So, Mitchell Wajda, thank you for becoming a KPC member. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, Epic High, yes, Epic High as well too. Yes. So all of these acts, imagine them all being together. And if you've joined the stream right now, we are at 170 people so far. Please like the stream before we go on. And yes, so Coachella with a K. Looking forward to it. Let me know in the comments which groups would you like to see, which groups you would like to see collab together, what you want to see in terms of details of the concerts. Yeah, it should definitely not be overpriced though. That's the biggest thing, and it should be in a more accessible place than Coachella. Like, not let's not make it in the middle of the desert or near North Korea or anything. You know what? Like, let's actually use it. There's actually a very interesting narrative going on. So it came from a negative point of view, actually. So I don't want to actually dive into it, but it just occurred on my brain right now. So when BTS did their Netflix showcase in Gwanghwamun Square, there were a lot of antis and haters among the general public saying like, "Why are you, privatizing your a public space, a very important, Korean space for like promoting a group's comeback and blah 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 blah, and not even many people showed up anyways. It paralyzed the transportation, the sales weren't boosted, blah blah blah." There was a lot of narrative. So a lot of people said you should have either done it at a stadium, dedicated a stadium, and just shoved everyone over there. Why did you have to do it in a plaza in the middle of Seoul? And second, a lot of people were saying, so this is the opinion I just thought about, thought just occurred. A lot of other people were saying, you know what, if BTS brings so much economic effect and whatever and benefit to the economy, then it would be great to prove it by hosting the event in the middle of nowhere in Korea in a very rural countryside that nobody has heard about, not like Busan or Jeonju or Daegu or Gwangju or whatever, like just in the middle of Gangwon-do or whatever. And let's see if armies all flock there, and let's see if like the transportation and the whole, economy over there floods in, and it can be an iconic place and blah 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 blah. And actually, I would say like if BTS actually did that, it would have been very lively. But yeah, like tapping into that idea and converting into another kind of perspective. Actually, if we were to host something like Fanomenon and make it in like Jeollado and like in the middle of nowhere that nobody would actually go, and we rotate city by city every single year or every single semester or whatever, then I think it would actually boost the economy year by year in the countryside, and it would actually disperse the crowd and show the beauty of rural Korea as well. So yeah, that would be, I think, a great idea in the case of Phenomenon, right? So it's just an idea. JYP, I know you're tuning in, bro. So I know you speak fluent English, and I know you watch my channel every single week. I know you steal my ideas and my opinions. Then I'm an opinion leader within Hybe and SM and YG and JYP Entertainment. I know you guys monitor my show. Yeah, I've heard stuff. I've heard stuff from the inside that you guys have like internal letters and you monitor YouTubers that have opinions and stuff. So yeah, here's this random YouTuber suggesting you guys make Phenomenon and doing tours within Korea in the countryside and boosting the economy and dispersing it from the Seoul centric, whatever. Yeah, so anyways, okay, that was just me being stupid. But yeah, but could the infrastructure actually handle that? I don't know, but if Coachella is possible, it's literally in the middle of the desert. If this phenomenon were to be global standard, if it were to step up, if we're aiming for that, I think, like from Los Angeles or California to Death Valley or the Coachella, whatever that is, the desert, I'm pretty sure any countryside is not far apart from like a big city hub within Korea. Like whether like we have Seoul, Jeju, Gwangju, and anywhere. Like it's not going to be that far apart. So yeah, I think the infrastructure would hold. Hello, Chu Yang. BTS wanted to add cultural significance by performing at the square. Exactly. Like, go watch my video. I explained all of it over there, right? Finally subscribed after watching you for years. Oh my gosh, Zumba, what have you been doing so far? Well, it's better late than never, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, does he actually watch DKDK TV? I don't know who you're talking about, but if you're talking about whether if I watch DKDK TV, no, I am DKDK TV. I am the 50% of DKDK TV. My name is David Kim, DK. Get it, right? This is my other channel where I talk about Korean culture and K-pop and snippets and yeah, bite-sized news over here. I do live streams and essays, so please subscribe if you haven't already. Okay? Porta potties aplenty. Yeah. Okay. The country needs to depend on the other K-pop groups to make things happen. They don't need to rely on BTS. I'm sure, like we got very strong groups. I'm not saying we don't need BTS. BTS would be the biggest attraction, but like if it were to be Stray Kids, ATEEZ, if it were to be 17, if it were to be TXT and IPEN, all of those groups, Boy Next Door, or what are the SM groups doing nowadays? NCT, if they had a joint concert, I'm pretty sure the fandom would be big enough to sell all the tickets and make Chinese, Japanese, Southeast Asian fans flock in, and even people from North America, Europe. Yeah, so I think that would be able to happen. And also, like, I don't know what the Phanomenon blueprint looks like, but there's definitely going to be one hosted in Korea, but it could also be in the UK at the Wembley Stadium, or it could be like the Glastonbury, whatever you call it, the festival over there, or in the middle of, I don't know, well, yeah, Bali. Yeah, I'm just spitting out random places, but it doesn't have to be in Korea, right? AT stage would go so hard, I know, right? Cool that JYP and the other entertainment agencies are keeping an eye on you and other YouTube. They gotta keep up with trends and novel ideas. I mean, there was a little bit of exaggeration, and I sprinkled a little bit of MSG over there, but it is a fact. It is a fact that I heard from an insider. I know several insiders in the K-pop industry. I've been here for more than 10 plus years, and I know that as for a fact that they do monitor YouTubers and they do have internal what do you call them, like newsletters and all that kind of stuff, that yeah, there's an editorial team that keeps track of what people are thinking about this new comeback or this new music video, or what their opinions are about conflicts and controversies and all that. Yeah, so what's the best way to do it? You go to a YouTube channel that talks about it, and there's a bunch of comments over there, and you see it's big data, right? It's qualitative data and quantitative data. So yeah. Yep, no doubt ticket sales would sell out. I read they want to open in SK and then tour. Yes, exactly. If I were JYP, that would be the goal for myself as well. K-Stosh, hello, welcome. How do you think the people in rural areas would respond to a huge concert like that? They would love it. They would love it. As long as it doesn't like interfere with their livelihood in a negative way, I think the locals would really love the new influx and the new, liveliness and the money flowing into their own areas for sure. Yeah. But there will definitely be noise here and there. Yeah, we know the artists themselves are watching a lot of YouTube. Exactly. BTS members talk about watching YouTube all the time. Yeah. aespa full album. Like add one ticket sale there. Like if aespa is doing concert and Karina Winter is there, like I'd be going myself. So yeah. Okay, so Yep. Oh, I know. I meant JYP. You said he watches your videos. Yeah, he probably watches DKDK TV, you know? Anyways, okay. Want your chat 100% read and responded? Try the super chat function or PayPal. Send a message over there, and I will recognize you and read your message. All right. So let me see. Oh, by the way, thank you, M, for joining Patreon. Yes, thank you so much. If you like what you're watching and you want to consider supporting this channel, please check out Patreon for $5. You get watch parties to the newest BTS content, and also if you join the exclusive podcast here, you get to see an angle into my life, more intimate, more close, more personal takes on social issues and also my daily life, including dating. Oh my gosh, I have so much to say. But anyways, yeah. Go on to Patreon if you are interested. Okay, so another iconic news related to K-pop. Oh, no, actually, BTS this week is that they finished their Goyang leg, right? You remember that, right? But they went over to Japan to perform at the Tokyo Dome. Not everybody does that, you know? Like, Tokyo Dome is only for legends. It's hard to even sell out that venue, but they did the performance there. But what's most important is that the arirang, daechang, the chant, was just spreading across, and everybody was singing arirang in Tokyo Dome, and Tokyo Dome is probably like 90% Japanese nationals. The fact that arirang was a banned song during the Japanese colonial rule. The Japanese did a lot of stuff during the occupation era in the Korean Peninsula. They tried to strip the roots out of our culture. They banned us from using our own names. They banned us from using Hangul. They banned us from using like our own songs and anthems and creating nationalistic or like cultural content or whatever it is. They banned us from doing a lot of stuff. And look how the tables have turned. The colonizers. I'm sorry. I know I need to divide the colonizers from back then and the new generation and the people that even when they were born back then they might have not done anything in a nationalistic level. I know we have to divide it on personal levels, but just in the framing of imperialism, colonialism, and Japan versus Korea, it is just mind-blowing to see Japan's significant Tokyo Dome, symbolic Tokyo Dome, being fully chanted and singing arirang there. It's like bringing me tears, actually. Yeah, when I saw the footage, that was crazy. I thought the members got emotional as well too, because they were like, usually, you know what, like they say like louder, like let's sing it all together. That's what they did in Koyang, but here they just like they just held up the mics. I know it might have been like a culturally sensitive moment, so I think they were saving their words, but like RM, Jimin, and everybody, I think they were like, breathing so hard, full of pride, and it was like a moment, definitely, and they were just like holding up their mics, so that was just amazing. It is unbelievable to see this happening, yes, in 2026. Okay. Yeah. So they are definitely legends. They're definitely legends, and yeah. If you're enjoying the stream, please support. Yes, and I really wanted to go see BTS. I really still want to go see BTS in different venues, but never in my mind that the thought occurred that I want to go see BTS perform in Japan, because like, yeah, why would I go to Japan when I got Korea and I got Busan? But I never thought of the arirang aspect, and now that I think about it, like it would be iconic if I witnessed it with my own eyes. Japanese people filling Tokyo Dome with arirang. I never thought about it, but yeah, like once the news hit, I was like, this is crazy. Korean pride, yes. BTS just achieving things that our ancestors could have never even like. It's not even imaginable. Like there's a thing between what you can imagine and you can't imagine. Like the thing is, I'm trying to explain in my best words, but even during the what do you call it, like the pre-modern era, people could maybe imagine human beings flying. They could imagine the concept of it, right? Like in a machine or with wings, or going to space or the moon or whatever. Like the thought can occur, but things that are so absurd that you can't even actually lead your mind to in that direction, right? Like it's not even worth imagining. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like the thought that Japan would be chanting Korea's de facto national anthem is wild. Yeah, I mean, like the whole K wave phenomenon right now was unimaginable, and I think BTS is just like putting fuel on the fire over there and just like making it a whole wildfire. But it's just unfathomable. Like it's crazy. Yeah. I'm so sad David couldn't get the ticket even if I'm living in Tokyo. What? It's lottery. That's why I saw so many Japanese army at the Koyang Stadium. They crossed over to Korea to see that, and I saw so many left out outside of the stadium, and they were interviews saying like they booked all the hotels and everything, but they couldn't get the tickets, so they just enjoyed Korea. But yeah, BTS is breaking records and history. Exactly. BTS is spreading love and peace just like the Beatles. Yes. So respect to BTS. And another thing they're doing is economically boosting our country. Record high foreign visitors to Korea in quarter 1. This is crazy. The effect. Over 4.76 million foreign tourists visited Korea in Q1 this year, setting a new all-time record. In March alone, 2.06 million people came, which is the highest monthly figure ever. Oh, and would it be a coincidence that it was exactly the month that BTS did their Gwanghwamun concert? Where are all those haters just saying, oh, BTS doesn't contribute so much to the tourism? It's more about K-drama, and it's more about just the K-wave getting popular in general and all that, Yeah, don't try to point all the credit towards BTS, blah, 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 blah. Well, what a coincidence, right? So yeah, BTS definitely played not only a big role, but they were the deciding factor in that surge. Let's be honest over there, right? According to the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism, total visitors were up 23% compared to the same period last year. By country, China led with 1.45 million, followed by Japan with 940,000 and Taiwan with 540,000. Taiwan saw the fastest growth, jumping 37.7%. We love you, Taiwan. We love you, Taiwan. Busan loves you, Taiwan, because every time I go to Busan, for some reason, there are so many Taiwanese tourists, and I love them. Yeah, Taiwanese tourists are the best. Yeah, and every time I see those uh, I'm Taiwanese badges, it's very funny. Foreign card spending also rose 23% to 3.21 trillion Korean won, about $2.4 billion, and arrivals through regional airports increased by 49.7%, showing not just more tourists, but better distributed tourism too. So it's spreading over and flooding over to other regions as well, like Busan, like Jeju. And if you go to Olive-young, if you go to Myeongdong, if you go to Gwanghwamun, if you go to like Jongno, everywhere it's packed full with foreigners. I was at Namsan Tower today, as a matter of fact, and there was a 2-hour line of foreigners, and the unthinkable has happened because Namsan Tower was a very romantic date place for romantic couples to go up there and make the love locks and make promises. Oh, let's not break up, forever. All liars. But anyways, even since my parents' generation, but nowadays, and also I went there up with my ex-girlfriends. Oops, plural. But yeah, like I went up there for sure for the love locks. But now you see. And you go and see who the love locks are made by. Like you see the language on the love locks, and you can recognize it's all in English, it's all in Spanish, it's all in different languages. And if you just see the line at the Namsan cable car, like 90% of them are foreigners. I can't see any Korean couples over there or families. So how the times have changed, it's just really, really wild. Yeah, it's just crazy, unthinkable. Yes, but I am super, super happy that our country is getting the spotlight that it deserves, and BTS is definitely, definitely at the forefront of it. Yeah, and then there's definitely K-pop demon hunters, and people want to go to Namsan and Naksan Park because of K-pop demon hunters, Rumi and Saja Boys, all that. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, JME, thank you so much for the 500 jewel gifts. Tulips. Oh, what is that? I've never seen that before, but thank you so much for the 500 jewels and 200 gifts. Happiness, sunlight. Okay. What is that? Okay, thank you so much for the gifts. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. BTS is breaking records. I'm so happy for y'all, David. BTS is doing amazing things for Korean culture. Yes. And I wonder if singing Arirang would be allowed in a Chinese concert. I don't know. I don't think so. Korea got it right. The way to colonize is soft power. I wouldn't call it colonizing, you know? We are a nation that takes in pride of the fact that we have never invaded a foreign country before in our history, entire history. Yeah, unlike our neighbors, right? We might have had civil wars and we might have defended ourselves and we might have, overstepped a little bit when they got offensive towards us, but like we've never actively planned an invasion towards a adjacent country. So yeah, I think that heritage and that proud history might continue on with pride and in our DNA. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Let's see what you guys are talking about. I would love to visit Korea. Welcome, welcome. It's beautiful. Go to Busan and Jeju-do. Exactly. I bet the Korean elders are so proud of BTS for what they have done for South Korea. Exactly. BTS paved the way. You forgot to mention Korean idols beat Hollywood stars by internet market value. Exactly. So what's crazy is that if you look at Coachella, like I was going through Coachella clips on Instagram. You just go to the Reels feed and you can see like the engagement, right? Like the views and the likes and the shares and the comments and all that. I went through them. I scrolled through them, and the number one engaged post was by what according to the time when I observed it, was Justin Bieber. Like his act was definitely iconic. It was the talk of the town. Everyone shared it and all that. Like it had sentimental value and all. So I understand Justin Bieber, but then after that, it was all the K-pop related acts. Like just go on there and compare it to like Sabrina Carpenter or whatever you want to. Yeah, compare it to. So it was all Big Bang, had so many comments, so many views, so many shares. Cat's Eye was next. So you can definitely see that, K-pop rocks. And you might think K-pop is lame, but the numbers are there, the money is there, and it's now we have our own festival brewing, Fanomenon, so it's definitely gonna get bigger. And yeah, in aggressive terms, the cultural invasion might be happening. Who knows, right? Like nobody imagined it would come up to this state, so who knows? It might become dominant culture in the future, right? Yeah. So, okay. Wow. How many love locks do you have, David? I am not going to talk about that. So many exes. Well, I do have like I think maybe 21 love locks in Namsan Tower alone, and maybe if you go to like Paris, I do have like three, and where are other places? Just kidding. Yeah. LMAO, my lock is there too at Namsan Tower. Yeah, everyone leaves a lock there. Westerners love love locks. It's a must do for couples in Paris. How often does David go up to Namsan Tower? I don't know. Why did I go today? Who did I go with today? Ooh, I still maintain my promise that I will never ever return to Namsan until I am in a relationship. Ryan, oh, that means you're not gonna return until you're dead. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Ryan, you can go with me, okay? I will go with you, and if friendship counts, we can make a lock of friendship, right? Right. All right, all right. Yes. Oh wow, Lynn, thank you so much for the $20 pizza. I 1 week till Tampa. I will see them in 2 days, Saturday and Tuesday. Wow, in 2 days, really? They finished Japan and now, wow, they're already in the U.S. I'm so excited to go at last. Wow, they really need some rest though. Like, yeah. Wow, they're finally starting their U.S. leg. Wow, you guys must be so excited. Wow, I'm so looking forward to all those clips going wild in the US. Okay. Andrea says, I've been immersed in all the things K since 2000, way before BTS, and have been amazed by the extreme changes. Exactly. The people who have seen have been riding the K wave, we have never even imagined. We were like the lame people back then. I myself was looked down upon even in Korea. I'm telling you, the homeland itself. Imagine being a K-pop fan in overseas in a different country. Like you'd be the odd one out, and I know there would be definitely stigma and stereotypical whatever the fans would have faced. But now, look how the tables have turned. Netflix's most watched film is uh, Squid Games, and we got K-pop Demon Hunters, and winning Golden Globes and Academy Awards with Parasite and everything happening. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I think you can definitely see the maturity of BTS and Arirang. Loving the whole album, feels so honest and reflects who they really are. Exactly. Yes. Want to get back to Korea any day. Yeah. Hello, just the tea, please. And oh, another super chat. Wheelant, thank you so much for the €5. You outing yourself on Namsan visits. Hee Shh. Shh. Okay. Shh. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, going back to the news, more visitors who come for K-pop end up discovering a whole new side of Korea, hopefully. Yes. Okay. Yeah, come to Korea, guys. Come to Korea, Habibi. No, it's not Habibi. 친구, come to Korea. 어서 오세요. 한국입니다. 어서 오세요. You know the funny thing? Okay, going on a tangent. I was talking about this with a friend today. So he's a foreigner, and he was like, "So what's the equivalent of welcome in Korean?" And there's no such word of welcome. I guess there could be 환영합니다, like that's like we greet you, but that's a very like outdated and old mannered way of saying welcome. Like 환영합니다, it's like yeah, it's like something the minister of diplomatics and foreign affairs would say to the French President Macron when he comes out of his like private jet, like presidential jet, and he'd be like 환영합니다. It's kind of like welcome, but like for store clerks or convenience stores, there's no actual literal translation equivalent for welcome, right? But the equivalent we actually use is 어서 오세요. That's like 어서 오세요, 어서 오세요. If you go to Olive Young, they'll be like very dead, and they'd be like 어서 오세요, Olive Young입니다. They'd be like that, right? So yeah, 어서 오세요. If you do the literal translation, if you chop up the words, is 어서 means quickly. 어서, 빨리, 빨리. It's in our culture. 어서 is quickly. 오세요 means like come. So literally it means come quickly. So you're seeing a customer enter the door and you're saying come quickly, come quickly. So isn't that kind of funny? It has a good intent. Definitely. It's like, oh yeah, please come in quickly, like we greet you. It has the joy and excitement in it. But if the literal translation might be a little off to foreigners who are learning 한국어, and might be like, why are these people saying to a customer, come in quickly? So, yeah, that's guys, okay. Let's not Natoster. No. No, whoa. That is not what she said. She did not say come quickly, okay? Okay. Oh my gosh. You guys are rotten to the core. Come quickly, come quickly. Yes. Okay, that does sound very weird. No, like who would say come quickly? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Who would say come quickly? Yeah. Um yeah. I never knew that, right? Like it does sound weird if you do literal translations. Uh yeah, so could a single 33-year-old girl find a Korean guy in Korea? Do Koreans date foreigners? Asking for a friend? What do you mean? I was at Itaewon yesterday, and the amount it's just crazy. The amount of Korean and foreigner couples or whatever they're having, like flings or whatever it is, it's just absurd. It is just absurd. Like, I couldn't have imagined this in the old days. You know how there was always like a looking down upon Asian men, as Asian men was always on the bottom of the pyramid hierarchy. Well, yeah, look how the tables have turned now. Yeah, especially with the Korean culture and the K wave hitting, Asian men are the new cool men. Yeah, they know how to groom. They're very gentle, they're very loving, they're very polite, and they love fashion. They're well educated. So most of them have high incomes. I don't know about that, but yeah, their living situations are okay. So yeah, Asian men are becoming very popular, in particular Korean men as well too. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Thank you, Booty Cream Cheese, for the 90 gifts. Jajangmyeon. Okay, thank you so much. Wow. Well, I love this new function. I don't know what it is, but I love it. I'm loving it. Okay. An impatient person would say that, David? No. No. Why would anybody? Adults in a hurry? What? Okay. Dirty mind adults. Exactly. Feel the vibe. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, what? You bought your husband at low and gonna sell him at high? Okay. All right. Well, you're a great investor. You're the Warren Buffett of humans. Yeah. Okay. Whoever snatched a Korean guy in the 1990s and still maintained their marriage and willing to, sell him or whatever you want to do. Okay, okay. All right. Yeah. So, okay, guys. You want to buy jajangmyeon and gift it to me too? How can I do it? So, from what I understand, there's this new function on YouTube called gifts, and what's different from super chats is that you can buy like in bulk. Let's say you have $100 in your budget, and you want to, it's a hassle to gift or super chat every single time to a different YouTuber, right? There's David Kim, there's DKDKTV, there's Danny Kim, right? You would like to give them separately, super chats, but every single time you have to go like, through payment and whatever. So that's a hassle. So YouTube enabled this new function. So you can just swipe your card and buy $100 worth of gifts, and then you can give $5 to David, and you can give $10 to DKDK and $10 to Danny Kim and whatever. And every single time you don't have to go through the payment. So I think that's how it works. I haven't tried it myself, but yeah, it's a great new function. I'm seeing people use it a lot. Thank you so much. I love that. Yeah. So, okay. So, anyways, Korean tourism is at the high, and a lot of people are capitalizing on it, and it's totally fine. Arih is incoming. It's the ramen brand on brands are on edge because of Arih. Arih is this new brand created by Pato Food and HY Official. I think that is Hanguk Yakult. So that's Korean Yakult together. They're teaming up with BTS to launch a new brand called ARIH. I don't know if it stands for something, but it definitely sounds like Ari, Arirang, Suri, Surirang, Ariga Nane, right? So there's an Ari in Arirang. It's in relation to their comeback Arirang, right? I don't know if that's the actual origin to this brand name, but it definitely has some similarities, as they have the Korean version over here too, and it says Arih, right? But they have modern noodle butter, gochujang, soy sauce butter. They have sodas, Ruby Galore, Apple Flare, Clear Lemon, Pineapple Drift, Mango Horizon. When does this end? Berry Bliss? What? Bongole, bulgogi, tteokbokki, seaweed. Wow, they got a variety going on over here. I'm basically doing free promo here. Like, Arih, if you see this, please give me a promotional, a budget over here. I'll be eating Arih 24 hours on stream, okay? Please contact me, Parto. But yeah, RM, Jimin, just cooking, bibimbap and everything over there. V being the master chef. Oh wow, I would love to join them at that table. But yeah, so Arih is this new brand that's coming soon. I'm definitely going to be making a candid review on them if they don't give me money. If they don't give me a branded deal. So Arih, before I slam you on the internet, please contact me. Okay? Yeah. And it's going to be healthy, is it? Okay, it's going to be healthy. All right. On top of that, HY is bringing in its probiotic tech with 7 postbiotic energy drinks and 7 low-sugar dual biotic sodas packed with dietary fiber. The products will first launch across Walmart stores and online in the US starting April 24th. So you got 4 days left. What? Only the US? What? Okay, so I won't be able to review them right away? That is a no-no. You should release them in Korea as well too. Yeah. Looks good. I've already pre-ordered. What? You're pre-ordering ramen? Okay, that's the power of BTS. Just don't forget to boil it in a ceramic boil. Okay. Yeah, Arih is having pop-up meetups. Their mystery marketing had everyone excited at first because we did not know what it was. Yeah, I saw when the random Instagram account popped up and all the BTS members started following and reposting and all that, right? So, yeah, okay. Of course you love money. Yes, I love money. Money to the core. Like, please give me money, Parto. Please sponsor me. Yeah, and send super chats, guys. And Ditonia, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal. Money. I love it. Love it. Thank you so much. No message. You're such a cool person. Yes. Blind love. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. David, they sell Shinramen for $12 in Swiss mountain restaurants to tourists. This sounds like a great replacement. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys, what is next over here? Okay, we are going into our main news segment of the day. I know you guys have been waiting for this for a year now. Like, quite literally, everyone has been waiting for this news. The one and only notorious Johnny Somali. Uh-oh. Trouble alert. So this guy, everyone knows by now, he is the devil. And why did streamer Johnny Somali get jail time in Korea? Well, let's dig into it. So, this internet broadcaster, just to give you a reminder, whose real name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail, was sentenced on Wednesday to 6 months in prison with labor and an extra 20 days of detention. Now, okay, I know you guys are all pissed that it's only 6 months, so let's get to that afterwards, but let's do a recap of what he did. What did Ismail do? I love that the Korea Jungang Daily is now quoting him, calling him by his real name, like clocking him. In October 2024, Ismail drew first public attention in Korea by posting a video of himself kissing the Statue of Peace in Itaewon in Yongsan District, Central Seoul. Why is that controversial? Because that statue is dedicated to honor the comfort women, which were sex slaves during the atrocities of the Japanese war, the world wars, and the Japanese, just stole and abducted our women from the countryside, saying that they needed them for services at the front lines. And these women, block your ears if you don't want to hear this, but they had to deal with tons of men per day and nonstop and in very unsanitary conditions. And yes, it is very, very hard to even imagine what they went through. And only a few members of the Comfort Movement are still alive. Every year after year, the survivors have been passing away. But yeah, we have constantly requested apologies and compensation or whatever, condolences from Japan, but it's very political, and the Japan always claims that, oh, we once apologized back then, so it's a done deal, and then another party comes up, and yeah, blah 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 blah. But anyways, Johnny Somali, going back to Johnny Somali, he made fun of this very sensitive issue in Korean history, and it is something you don't fuck with. These kind of things are something you don't fuck with. And this guy had the I can't think of the word right now, but audacity to actually go up to the statue and joke with it and twerk on it and kiss it. And that's like, yeah, that is so low. He's a freaking scumbag. But anyways, not only that, but he went to a convenience store, and it like the statue thing, it didn't result in criminal charges at first. Johnny Somali instead faced his first indictment in Korea for obstruction of business after causing disruption at a convenience store in Seoul by blasting music and deliberately dumping instant noodles on a table. And if you go to that live stream, he wasn't just like, that is an understatement. He was causing a whole nuisance, and he was causing like a whole quarrel and a scene with the customer and the owner, and everybody was like, get out please, but he refused to, and he was causing a whole scene. Yeah. And then on the first day of his trial on March 7th, 2025, he showed up an hour late claiming that he had a stomach ache. What a pussy. He reportedly attempted to enter the courtroom wearing a red Make America Great Again cap while calling Korea a vassal state of the United States, and stuck out his tongue in court. So he read some internet Reddit posts saying like, oh, America is invincible if you have the American passport, and if you're in Korea, because Korea is so much in debt and so much in connection with the United States, they never penalize or punish American citizens. So like, I'm gonna get a free pass as well too, and whatever I did, it wasn't that much of a big deal to him. So he was like, yeah, try to punish me. You know what? Like, I'm gonna disobey the court. I'm gonna do whatever the F I can. I'm gonna disrespect you guys. I'm gonna wear that MAGA hat and stick out my tongue and blah, 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 blah. He was very overconfident, but what he didn't know was that the whole world was against him. Even the Americans were against him. I would say that even the American lawyers, a lot of communities, a lot of Reddit, a lot of YouTubers, I think maybe even politicians and higher up people might have even heard of this case and spoke out about it. So how has Ismail responded? When asked what he thought of the 3-year sentence sought by prosecutors, he replied that he believes justice will be served. Well, yeah, in a sense, it was served. It was served. And what's next for him? Ismail's sentence will not take effect immediately under Korean law. There are still some procedures left, including possible appeals. Appeals may be filed within 7 days of sentencing. Well, if I were him, if I were a smart person, I mean, he doesn't seem so bright, but I would not appeal, because I think the charges would even get higher, and he would just be wasting his time in detention over here, and also wasting his money over trials at a trial he probably won't be able to win. So I think honestly 6 months is a very, very low sentiment considering what he did, and considering what the chain of actions of what he did throughout different countries as well too. I'm pretty surprised Japan didn't punish him. Like, the sentiment against notorious foreigners in Japan is so bad that Japan is like just deporting, massive deporting right now. They're hiring their bars and standards of like, immigration and assimilating and accepting foreigners over there. And they hate tourists over there. They're doing like, they're barging into them and shoulder bumping and all that. But he got away from Japan, but he got caught in Korea, and he got actually confronted by two Korean guys that like actually sucker punched him in the face, and everyone was super happy about that. And those guys got arrested by the police as well too, because like violence is violence, but they got so much donations from all over the world that their legal fees were all paid and all that, and they were like seen as heroes. But this guy, Johnny Somali, Ismail, yes, he's trapped in Korea. He's definitely gonna go at least for 6 months in prison, and he will have the service to be held with his sentence as well. And his offender status is likely to carry over into the States, his country of citizenship, according to Andrew Esquire, a U.S. lawyer who operates the YouTube channel Legal Mindset. So if you want to know more details about the legal aspect of this, yeah, go check out that channel. But yes, he got clocked twice. He wouldn't do that shit in China. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't do that shit in China. You messing with the good countries over here, Japan and Korea. Yeah. Now Japan is raising all fees and deporting foreigners. Exactly. Um, yeah, he will not have a great time in jail. Oh, well, he will not have a great time in jail for sure. Like, the Korean gangs, the gangpes, are gonna come at you with their dragon tattoos, and they're gonna gang up. And yeah, yeah, you'll have fun in prison. Yeah, it doesn't help that you're an American citizen or whatever in prison, right? Yeah, so Johnny Somali being a US citizen is the irony. Yes, exactly. He shouldn't appeal, but he will. Let's see how that goes. I think for now, guys, like I think actually him appealing would be a good scenario for all of us, because first of all, like everyone thinks that 6 months is not enough. So let's see where he goes with, yeah, not being satisfied with this sentence. He did this in Japan and Israel prior, yes. Mm-hmm. He is not so smart. No, this is not how the USA is. We find him disgusting. His lawyer saved him from wearing it to court. Liberal judges in the U.S. would have let him go. Really, if the liberal judges, I don't think, yeah, if yeah, they knew the context about like the comfort woman statue and all that. I don't think so. No. He was so disrespectful, can't stand him. Please, world, do not associate real Americans with Mac. Oh, okay. What a douchebag. Korea needed to humble him. Yes. I mean, I do think I am a little bit proud that Korea finally clocked him. It might be a very light sentence, but still, it is some kind of closure, right? It is some kind of karma. Better than nothing. If he weaseled his way out, everyone would have been super pissed. I mean, maybe that would have been even like more interesting, because a literal manhunt was going on with a bounty on him in Korea. So, yeah, that's why those vigilantes stepped up, and they were like streaming and like, circling around his house trying to actually clock him, and they did. But if he were to return to America, I think that would have likely happened. The same scenario would have happened too. Like all those YouTubers, like To Catch a Predator and all that, they would have confronted him. And yeah, yeah. I think that would be very interesting too. Like, will he be even able to set foot in America and be safe? Is another question, right? I think those YouTubers are gaining very good views from his controversy. I don't know, like these YouTubers, like American YouTubers that have big commentary channels, they always pop up about like Johnny Somali, and they get massive amount of views. So the interest is definitely there. And once he comes back to America, these YouTubers are definitely going to follow his story. And I feel like there will be, people that will confront him in American soil as well too. Yeah. Yeah. USA needs to revoke his passport. Please revoke it after he gets, punished in American soil. Yes. Yeah. Um anyways, yeah, so Johnny Somali is going to jail again. I repeat, Johnny Somali is going to jail. Let's all celebrate. Get your candles out, get your cake out. Let's fire up the fireworks. Let's all rejoice. Finally, he's going to jail. Respect to the Korean court and the cooperation of all the justice departments related to this. I'm sure they would have had to like file cooperation with the American, you know, uh, legal courts and whatever. Yeah, involved. I'm not a lawyer, but it is very tricky when we are holding foreigners accountable in our country because of political dynamics and whatnot. But yeah, this was such a clear case. In the old days, like if you look at movies and dramas, they have specific scenarios where U.S. Army people that are stationed in Korea uh, just did very bad crimes, like maybe distributing and selling drugs and stealing drugs and like even killing or just assaulting people for drugs and whatnot, and like whatever it is, like very hard crimes. And because it's not our jurisdiction, and because they're American citizens, and because America's country status, national status is like way above us, and we were just such a weak country back in the days. Like, they would just get like a very little punishment by the military court, and they would just return. They wouldn't even get discharged. They would get relocated, or they would return to the states or whatever. And there were so many cases like that. And like if you go to certain Itaewon clubs or Hongdae clubs where they say no foreigners, no foreigners. Now, I know like there is definitely like a very what is that word? I can't think of it right now. What phobic, the xenophobic aspect to it, definitely. But where it started, the origin is the American troops over here. They would go to Itaewon and Hongdae clubs and like become very aggressive because they're the Americans. They're the mighty Americans stationed in Korea, and no matter what they do, they're not held accountable. And they would like smash beer and like get into fights with people and like be loud and obnoxious and whatever, like sexually harass girls, blah blah blah. And because of that, a lot of clubs just started not accepting foreigners, and that kind of become a stereotype. And also there's like the language barrier problems, and there are the legal problems as well too, when foreigners get into conflicts and then the police come and they can't really do anything. So we're just like, oh fuck it, we're just like gonna eradicate the problem from the beginning. So yeah, anyways, it's a complex situation. But yeah, going back to Johnny Somali, these bad apples definitely ruin the image of the whole. And smart people know not to generalize, and everyone knows that all the Americans are against Johnny Somali as well too. And yeah, so well, at least like the thing is, the reason I talked about that whole segment is that it's this highly public case where an American citizen is getting punished by the Korean court is such a rare thing to happen. And it's a very big victory in a sense, I would say, even if it's just a 6 month kind of thing. So yeah, there we go. Hmm. Yep. This is a lesson to all content creators traveling to other countries who think they are above their laws. Exactly. I mean, content creator or not, if you're just a traveler or a citizen or just a human being and you travel to another country, wouldn't a sane, level-headed person, a decent person, just try to respect the country's culture, laws, customs, and manners, right? Like, yeah. So, hmm. David, I'm sorry about this situation. I'm not American. Still is embarrassing. Again, like it's not because Americans are bad or they're like bad people in general. I have so many great American friends, and I know there are so many bright and well-mannered, and so many, America's helped us so much. But, their presence was just so big here, and there were bad apples, and those, bad apples started representing, America as a whole, that's in some sense, and that's just how it happened. If, like history was different and, well, Germany were to help Korea out. Like that's a very alternative multiverse. But like if the Germans were here and they had a military presence here and they went to Itaewon, then we would be talking about Germans right now. So it's not about like national status or citizenship or whatever. The Americans just were here, and that's how it was. So yeah. David, I think you're asking the wrong people. I don't think any of us understand why anyone would actually do these things other than they're assholes. Yeah, that was a long sentence. I can't comprehend what you really mean, but yes. Um, yeah, some despicable people have no respect no matter where they are. Yep. And also sad effect of Korean military bases are that so many businesses were built relied on the commerce. Yes, that's for sure. So there was definitely a like power dynamic there. Um, and yeah, fuck that status thing. Crime should be held accountable. Yeah, it's just really hard, you know. But like it, it's this is a very hard thing to say, a difficult thing to navigate around. But okay, definitely if someone commits a crime, they should be punished. That is a principle, and I agree to that. But in some cases, like I don't want to be double standard and be a hypocrite and contradict myself. But phenomenally, what I'm observing nowadays is as the Korean country or status has becoming elevated and has elevated, and our political power has increased over the years, we're seeing more, I guess, wiggle room in legal conflicts or jurisdiction issues of Korean people committing crimes overseas. Now, again, I do not want to defend these people. I do believe that they should be punished to the full extent according to local law or whatsoever. But everything is very case by case, right? And there's always a backstory to this, and there might be misunderstandings. And I know a country's existence is to protect its citizen. So yeah, I've been seeing cases where our president recently steps up and says, like, it goes mostly for the victims to begin with. So there were a lot of victims of scamming and slavery and abduction in Cambodia. So he was like, we need to show that you can't fuck around with South Korea anymore. Like, we need to show our national power. Now, that's a no-brainer, right? Like, for the victims, we're going to be like America, right? Like, we're going to send our special ops and, like, just bombard these places and tear them apart and, like, operation whatever, and, like, save them back to our country. So it definitely applies for victims, but for criminals, I guess it goes in the same way. And our country is trying to get like fair trials for our citizens. And I've been seeing local news and media from different countries saying, "Oh, Korea is now using its political status to alleviate or lessen or downplay, crimes happening in other countries. So it's a very complicated situation, and I think at the end of the day, universally or whatever, in society or structure wise, human beings are just geared in that kind of way. Like it's just power play, power structure, wealth, economic, you know. But yeah, it's something to think upon. I think our country, because we have been the victim of this and we've been affected by this for so many long years, and now we've elevated our status, we should be the ones that reflect on this issue and not be hypocrites and not have double standards. And like it's very hard to weed out the bad cases versus the good cases, or like the ogurhan cases, which means like the misunderstood cases. But that's the job for the Interpol and the police and the Korean police and the Korean legal system. But yeah, I've seen a lot of voices of self reflection on the Korean internet as well too. Whenever I saw like, oh, these Koreans created a crime ring in like whatever, or they did like they assaulted a person, they used violence in a tourist area, and they didn't get punished or whatever. So yeah, like Koreans are acting as if we're seeing our version of Johnny Somali nowadays. So self accountability. They're like, no, we have been a victim of this. We know how it is to be on the other end of this. So let's not be the asshole again. So, anyways, yeah, yeah. So I've been seeing that happen more and more often. Hopefully, we have the ability to self regulate and not be assholes. As yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah. So yes, just be respectful no matter who you are when traveling. Each case should be considered separately. Exactly. Yeah. So I do think a country initially has to screen and give the citizen a fair trial, but like in cases that are super clear cut, like Johnny Somalis, or like an assault or violence case, whatever the trigger was, that person should be fully sentenced by local law or whatever. Yeah. Mm. I'm reading all your comments right now. Perpetrator is the word you're looking for. Yes. Yeah. Let's not be the perpetrator. Okay. Wow, this Johnny Somali case. I could have just shitted upon about him for 30 minutes straight. But see, you know, I really hate this word influencer. I just stick to content creator. But, if you look at the essence of a content creator or an influencer, and people sometimes come up to me and say, like, with the influence you have, use it in a good way, right? So I tend to try to utilize my influence of whatever, you know, influence I do have to steer it towards a positive, or at least a self-reflective manner, where we can get some insight, or we can get some food for thought, or we can actually regulate ourselves, or in a good manner. Johnny Somali, yeah, like his 6 month sentence, this sucks, and he got a sentence, and it's all very happy for everyone in the world who was cheering for him to be locked up in jail. But also looking at this, we can extend the talks about Korean citizens now, and it's there's a different time and place for topics. But yeah, I'm just, yeah, Koreans seeing this broadcast would be like, why are you talking about Koreans right now? But like, it's because of the similarity of the essence of the case itself, that it's the time you bring this up. So let's see this as a lesson for ourselves as well too. That's just what I'm saying. Yeah. I think most Koreans take accountability when it comes to their bad apples. Exactly. We try very hard because I think there was a case I remember about this Korean girl at a Vietnamese photo booth, and the local Vietnamese there was taking a picture, and this girl just came up to her and like suddenly started a tantrum and grabbed her hair and like punched her and all that shit. And once that hit the news, like the Vietnamese were furious about her, and I think I don't know whether she got detained or not, but Koreans were super pissed about that person. They were like, "No, we will not tolerate this." So they dug up her personal information, her business, and whatever. They buried her on the internet. They buried her socially, and they made like pleads towards like the justice administration or whatever entity, and they sent letters saying like, we cannot let this pass, like this person should be punished to the full extent. They've embarrassed our country. We do not claim this person. And I think that's a great case of showing how Koreans don't want to, be the perpetrators or the power players and whatnot. Yeah. uh That's why I've been following you all these years. I appreciate you diving into topics that can be sensitive but need to be discussed. Yeah, I might not be the best person. I can't really, with my limited abilities in English, I do not have an academic level uh, of discussing these things, but I can be an agenda setter, right? I can throw questions and I can stir up or ignite meaningful and significant debates in the comment sections and provide an agora. Uh, so yeah, I think that's my role as a content creator, and that's why I like being a content creator, and I like reading all your comments, and I like other people reading other people's comments and liking them. And imagine all these people, like for all my live streams I get more than 10,000 to 20,000 views, and imagine 10,000 people all over the world, someone in Stockholm right now, someone in Mexico right now, someone in Argentina, someone in Europe, someone in Chicago, seeing a single comment, and they're in the middle of their lunch, they're at their work, they're commuting, they're in vacation, and they see that comment and they're thinking about the same thing we're talking about right now, about accountability, about like a foreign citizen getting punished in different countries, and they all tap in and talk about and think about that. And that's like, that's a very, I think that's a very incredible kind of thing, like the power of the internet. Again, the internet has fried up a lot of minds and has a lot of negative impact to this generation, but it also provides a lot of things that we couldn't have imagined before. So yeah, if you think of it in like a visual and physical perspective, it always amazes me. But it might seem, sometimes it might just seem like numbers to me, but whenever I see like a long essay comment and it says like, this is that and statistics and first, second, third, in conclusion, blah 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 blah, and it's like about it's a very thorough essay and well written opinion statement, and there's like 200 likes on it. It means that 200 individuals around the world read that. And if you just like put it into visual perspective, that 200 people are in one room, like a lecture hall, all listening to that person's comment and debating, and then these 200 people are going to bring that to their friends and family to the table over dinner and maybe educate their kids or whatever. So I think the splash effect is really just enormous, even though despite I'm like a small channel and whatever. So it might start with Korean culture and Korean issues and Johnny Somali, but it could expand over to similar cases in your own country, in your culture. So yeah, I think it all has meaning, right? I've been rambling for on uh, a long time, but yeah. Mm. Okay. Someone in South Carolina, exactly. Yes. I appreciate how you maintain objectivity and try to evaluate situations on merits rather than notions. Thank you. Thank you. Too much splash. Dive. I was actually at the Cheonggyecheon earlier and I saw BTS keep swimming. Yeah, a beautiful picture over here. Yeah, this was like 1 hour ago at the Cheonggyecheon, and there was keep swimming there. It was cute, so I just took a picture. But yeah, um, okay. Okay, wow. Signal Busan enjoying the pool. I don't look my age. Elders don't think I'm their age anyway. I'm in the pool having lovely conversation. The man declared she's a good person. Hilarious judgy moment. Well, I envy you that you're in Signal Hotel. I've never been to that hotel, even though I'm a Busan person, because it's too much of a luxury place for me. That's probably like per night in USD, probably 400 plus dollars. I've never been. There's an infinity pool over there and it has an insane view, but I'm happy for you. Wow, that is great. The Keep Swimming series is very inspiring. Yes. I saw the interview with Son Jae-nim and the other started with Park Chan-wook director. Yeah. And yes, thank you so much. Wow, I got so many PayPals. Okay, PayPal time before we go on to the next topic. Yes. Money makes David happy. I'm an honest person. Yeah. Uh Nice to be able to join today. Have been missing out lately. Support you always. Thank you so much, Kelly, for the generous $100. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, thank you so much, Kelly. It really helps me. Yeah, definitely my content has meaning in its own way, and I find joy in spreading the culture. But to be honest, I'm doing this for myself as well too. I'm a content creator, and it's a job, it's a profession, and it takes more than actually what people think. It's not just a random dude yapping in front of a camera and begging for money, right? So I gotta make a living, right? I gotta make it entertaining, informative, thought provoking, consistent, all of that. So, yes. And when I get compensated for it from you guys, I feel so, so good. Thank you so much. And Bahar, thank you so much for the $10 pizza because that guy is going to jail. Yes, everybody is celebrating. So Johnny Somali, go to fucking jail so I can earn more money. Just kidding. Yeah. Michael, thank you so much for the $11, $12. No message at all. Yeah, I appreciate the support so much. Thank you so much. All right, all right. Yeah. So Johnny Somali is going to jail. That is official, guys. And let's go on to the next topic of today. Yes. Love bombing. When do Koreans say I love you? Too fast, some say. So this is a very introspective article from the Jungang Daily over here. I think it's a very thought-provoking, interesting cultural difference. Yeah, brought to the table. So if you look at this article, while getting into a taxi over the phone at night after discussing something about guitars, or a random thing, on the first date, in a love bombing display that involved gifts, flowers, $100 wallet, all that happened on the first date. And these were the moments three people said that they first heard 사랑해. 사랑해 means I love you, or some version of I love you. It could be 사랑해, 좋아해, 많이 좋아해. In I heard in Japanese because 사랑해 is like I love you is like it has like a very deep and sincere sentiment. Like 아이스테루, they don't use it that much. They use it for like like mother to son or daughter, or like in very dear moments where they really mean I love you. They refrain from using it, and they use the equivalent, which is like ski or daisuki. They like I really like you. I think it's pretty similar in Korean as well too. We have a little bit of an allergy against the word "I love you," like 사랑해. So it would be really tough for me to tell anybody like 사랑해 actually. And I've actually gotten some shit about this before with my ex-girlfriends or, whoever it is. And I have to admit actually, if I were to, you know, go up to my mom right now and say 사랑해, it would be I don't think I've ever said that word to my mom or dad or my grandma or whatever it is in my family ever since I was like after like elementary school. Before, yeah, so I know that's very harsh and it seems very weird. And there are families that have very healthy, communication and they can just say 사랑해 very easily. But it's just a very hard thing to do. Maybe the only occasion I might be able to say it is when like there's like I'm on national TV and there's a camera put on my face and the MC is like, anything you want to say to your mom? And I'd be like maybe 사랑해요, 엄마. That would be so like I don't know. There's this allergic response for some reason, and you guys might be like, "That's so weird. Like, why can't you say I love you to your mom?" But there's just like this wall there, you know, showing affection in those words is like just something different. And even when you're in a relationship, I think that's actually more easier. Um, and also a lot of women, Korean women, they want to hear that from guys. They're like, "Why do you never say 사랑해 to me?" And I want to hear it before I go to bed. So before ending the call, like say 사랑해. I've gotten that request a lot of times, and honestly, every single time it's just like so hard for me. I just get this like allergic effect for some reason. So I can say like I don't know, it just doesn't come out. I'm just like a shy guy, but whenever I get the question like why do you like me? Like what is so special about me? And then when I'm trying to articulate my feelings, then the words and the vocabulary might pop up here and there, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Um Ryan, thank you. Yes, in Asian culture, cutting and preparing fruits is a way of saying I love you. Exactly. So it's so weird why I can't say those three words, but instead we have the notion of hyo, right? The concept of hyo. You what is it? Like I forgot the English translation. Hyodo. It's always like this vocabulary that I forget about. Um, Filial piety, whatever that is. Filial piety, being good and dutiful to one's parents. So we try to show our love by actions without saying it, like, doing the dishes for my mom or like letting her rest and peeling fruits and cutting them for her or sending her on trips or serving her with a great meal and like buying her some hanu or giving her a call every single day and then doing video calls, blah 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 blah. We invisibly try to show our love without actually saying the word I love you, right? But anyways, like that was a long tangent over there. Is it just a cultural thing in Korea? I don't know about other countries, but like from what I've heard in Japan, like that's how it is between, girlfriend and boyfriend as well too. Every time I see a clip of like a Korean guy, because like the literal translation of I love you is aishiteru, and they approach a Japanese girl and say like aishiteru, they're always don't say that, like, that's a little bit too much. Uh, yeah, maybe it might be a commonality between East Asian countries or Asian countries. I think this shyness is the beauty of your culture. I really admire it. And actually, for Busan guys, it's different from region as well too. So Seoul guys are a little bit more affectionate. They're great at love bombing, or maybe they're kind of superficial. I don't know. Or yeah, like I would like to I would like to say they're like superficial and kind of hypocritical, but that's like my biased point of view as a Busan guy. But Busan men, they're like a little bit more masculine, and they don't want to be feminine in any kind of way. They don't want to be seen as the caring or whatever kind of style. Uh, they're the Japanese equivalent would be the tsundere. It's like you feel like you want to be seen as the person that doesn't care, and you're like, oh yeah, whatever. But like in the behind, they're like, yeah, I got a present for you on the way. Like, oh, here's a flower, whatever. If it withers to death or not, I don't care. But yeah, here's a vase with it as well too. And just don't kill it. Like stuff like that. They'd be like that, and they just go to like a kukbap place and order a kukbap with rice, and she empties her bowl, and they'd be like, yeah, here's another spoon of rice. Yeah, yeah, eat it, pig. Stuff like that. They show their love in those kind of ways. So Busan guys, they are even more allergic to the words like "I love you." Like, like 사랑해 itself is like standard Korean, so they would never say like "I love you." Yeah, that would never fly. Uh, they would either say, if they had to say like 사랑한다, they would say something like that. But 사랑해, oh, anyways, the Busan guys are tsunderes. Yeah. Yoongi gets teased as being tsundere. Yes, I would actually say Suga has the exact persona of or a character of being a tsundere. Um, Asia is acts of service over words of affirmation. That is a very great way to put it. Actually, a very recent case. I don't know if it's actually recent, but anyways, I was in a relationship, I guess, and yeah, there was this case where the person had back problems or whatever, and me being the Busan guy, and me trying to be subtle and smooth as possible, I care for her inside, right? And hearing that she had back problems and her back ached all day long because of her profession or whatnot, it really hurt me and it concerned me. So I immediately went onto the website and ordered some like hot heated massage belts and whatever, like vibrating belts, so that it could ease her while she slept and her back pain. And once I got to see her, I don't know why I acted like that, because I was just so embarrassed and shy. Uh, and like at the end of the date, before we like departed, at the begin no, at the end of the date, I'd be like, I just threw it at her and didn't even explain it. She's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I just got it from somewhere. Yeah, you just use it." And then later, she came at me. I didn't even give her the chance to like open it in front of me. And then later, she would like, say to me like, "Why didn't you?" appeal or express that you bought this for me because you cared for me and your my back pain and stuff like that. And I was like, like that's not cool. And her perspective was different, because like she wanted to hear more words of affection. Like she wanted to hear like, oh, I bought this because I was concerned for your back pain, and like you can use these different functions, and I hope you can like, it eases your pain while you're sleeping and whatnot, blah 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 blah. She wanted to hear all the in like in caring tones. But yeah, she was like, if you're gonna buy me these kind of stuff, and I appreciate it, but like, why don't you like express it better? Like that's just not who I am. But that's basically how Busan men are, and then that's the lowest layer, and then there's like Korean men and whatever. Um, but yeah, it's such a male thing, I know. So I think society just carved some guys like this. And what it's as seen as in the Jimmy Yang clip when he was asked, "What's your love language?" Go watch it. Okay, I'll check it out. But anyways, actually this is contrary to what this article is stating. So if you look at this article, actually a lot of Korean partners love bomb their partners and saying I love you all within the first week of dating. And among non-Koreans, there was a sense that Koreans said it too quickly for Koreans dating foreigners, largely from the West. The words came frustratingly long overdue. Okay. Um, in Western context, it often signals a shift from infatuation to something more serious. Said too early, it can feel unearned. Said too late, it can feel withheld. Saying I love you out loud, it turns out, is a relatively recent development in the country, which helps explain why its meaning and timing remain unsettled even among Korean couples. One 55-year-old Korean who asked to remain anonymous said she has never said it to her husband in their nearly 30 years of marriage. I think this applies to most of my generation. We're just not used to hearing I love you. So far, it doesn't contradict my sentiment, right? Cultural psychologist Han Min said younger Koreans may have picked up the habit of saying I love you out loud from Western media beginning in the 1990s as foreign cultural influences spread more widely following market liberalization. Okay, let's go with the flow. Could Koreans be using the word love too lightly? Generally speaking, it has lost some of its weight over time, said Shin Ji-young, a linguist and professor of Korean language and literature at Korea University. So, here's my take on this. Here's my take on this. I do think like this what the psychologist and whoever like the experts said about this is I think they're spot on but only 50% on. So I think it is a matter of generation and Western media influence. So there is definitely a demographic out there that easily says "I love you" in a lighthearted way, and yeah, that doesn't have that psychological barrier. So yeah, that part of it is true. So like even among relationships, I do see younger people saying very affectionately "사랑해, 사랑해, 아기, 우리 애기, oh, my baby, my babe, I love you." People saying like that. I can never, honestly. But yeah, I do see some people doing it. But specifically, what I want to put in perspective is among non-Koreans, there was a sense that Koreans said it too quickly for Koreans dating foreigners. Among non-Koreans, there was a sense that Koreans said it too quickly. Let that sink in. So, I think, this is just my theory. You might get a little offended and a little hurt here, but you've always heard about the problem between foreigners and Koreans dating once they get serious or when they discuss about marriage or whatever. There's always some kind of conflict, right? And there's always some kind of episode where, oh, he said, I can't really marry a foreigner. Oh, he said, my parents won't approve you. Or he wanted to break up when I wanted to become serious with him. Or there are also uh, a lot of I guess experiences on the internet, negative experiences on the internet. That's where the Korean guy negative connotation kind of came from. The Hongdae boys, they're all a variation, right? Variations. And where the Korean guys, especially Korean guys, because it's mostly Korean guys and foreigner women, they the Korean guys nowadays know that they are kind of relatively high in demand, and that a lot of Korea boos or women who just want to experience dating a Korean guy, are into them, and they kind of utilize that and take advantage of that and kind of love bomb them with blank words, with we call lip service, and go overboard with a agenda, with a purpose. Because these guys probably want to sleep with these people or date with these people and experience them, or I don't know, whatever intent they have, they want to do it fast, but they don't want to take it seriously. So they're like, you know, overdoing it. And that's just my perspective over here. I mean, it might be an exaggeration. It might be just me overthinking, but I feel like the whole love bombing narrative, especially among foreigners, the non-Koreans, as they say in this article, saying it too quick, I think it might be a calculated approach from these Korean guys that are trying to take advantage of international women's hearts in Korea. And I think that's fucked up. But that's just my perspective. And because I know for a fact that not a lot of Koreans are accustomed to the word I love you. And it might, okay, now it might be easier to say I love you in English. I do admit to that. So I guess there's a difference in like the language you're using. So I love you sounds it has a different weight compared to 사랑해. I do have to uh yeah, notice that difference. So if these people are saying I love you um in English, that might also be a different factor to take account in. But in general, I feel like these people are trying to take advantage of the hearts of a lot of foreigners by love bombing them and saying these sweet things and promising them the world when they're just in it for a fling, or they're not taking it seriously, and they know that, oh, I'm not gonna marry you, but just for the good time's sake now. So yeah, I think that's given a bad rep on a lot of Korean guys, and that's why we have a negative stereotypes like the Hongdae guys, like, oh, foreigner, uh, you know, do you live alone? Yeah, that's the whole archetype. That's the whole character of the Hongdae guy, right? Excuse me, do you live alone? I love foreigner girls. Do you want to go eat ramen? Everything's about like trying to get into her pants, right? So yeah, it's something to think about. Okay. Yes. So okay, there's a lot of comments overdue. So let me go back and see what you guys have been saying. Um. Okay. I would take at least 3 months to say I love you. For me to say it genuinely per request by my girl, I would honestly never say it um voluntarily. I don't, yeah, you can judge me, but it would be really difficult for me to say it voluntarily, but my threshold would be like maybe 6 months or something like that. Or I could just like say it very subtly or in a very romantic or very serious moment, but yeah. Or I could say it in a jokish manner, but that doesn't count, right? Um, let's see what you guys are talking about. My experience with Korean boyfriend was he got very attached way too quickly. Uh, let's see. Yeah, we need to look more into the target population of the survey. Age group matters a lot too, exactly. But I think we are by default kind of thinking that this is like about the 20s and 30s. Um, red flag, yes. They play foreign women, US women get played too. In a nutshell, yes. That's what I've been saying. Are you open-minded? Exactly. That's how they're trying to confirm that, you know, are you down? And that's trying to take advantage, right? Open-minded. So, yeah, yeah. Anyways, love bombing. So, I think love bombing is a thing amongst a lot of Korean guys, especially Seoul guys. But not in the sense of I love you, 사랑해. Like that's I don't think so, but they will be very gentle. They will be very well-mannered. They will probably give you flowers. Um, they will buy you a lot of meals, bring you to good places, drive you around, good cafes, good food, dress well, perfume, whatever. So that all counts as love bombing, right? But when it gets to like I love you, those words just hold a little bit of difference of weight in weight. Yeah. And someone sent their love towards me right now. Someone bought me a pizza. Thank you so much. Someone. I guess you wanted to stay anonymous, but I really appreciate you. Hmm? So, would you be able to say I love you in English more easily to someone than in Korean? Definitely. Definitely. So, there's this other thing. Like, this is a related topic, I would say. So, it actually happens very, very much um, amongst friends or even family. So, it's not about love, but about appreciation and gratefulness and thankfulness. When someone does something for you, you say, thank you, right? It's simple as that. And you might be wondering, why can't you say thank you? But in Korean and amongst a lot of people, the word 고마워 is sometimes tricky to say. Like if it's like in a what do you call it, a corporate setting, and you're just like random people or like colleagues, and you just say 감사합니다. 감사합니다 is perfectly fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like bros, if you're like actual bros, and like you're real friends, and you've known each other for like freaking 20 years, 10 years, like high school, middle school, whatever. And he does a solid for you. He does a favor for you. He gives you something, and and you saying 고마워, like thank you to him, would feel very awkward. Very awkward. I don't know why, but there's this weird psychology. I don't know if it applies for women as well too, but for bros, it's very weird. And even to my mom, and this might just be native to my relationship with my family, but even to my dad and mom, I've never really said 고마워. Like 감사, I don't use honorifics with them because each family has their own set of rules of communication, but some families use honorifics. I think it's too stiff. I think like, I want to have a relationship like a friend with my mom and dad, so I've never used honorifics. So if I were to say a form of appreciation to them, it would either have to be 고마워 or something, but I've never said 고마워. But for my bros and family, what I use instead of 고마워 is thank you. I say thank you or thanks. So I don't know what it is. I cannot explain this psychologically. If you're a professor in psychology, please dissect this so that I can understand my own mind. But it's kind of allergic and cringe for me to say to my bros and my family, 고마워. But it's okay for me to say thank you. What's the I don't understand. And also to my bros as well too. I don't really say like 잘가. 잘가 is like bye, like get home safe, something like that, right? In a very affectionate manner, like ba 잘가. I don't say 잘가. I say bye in English. There are certain things like this in the Korean language. I don't know what it is, but I just can't say like 고마워. I say thank you instead, and I instead of saying 잘가, I say bye. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, like this is a very peculiar phenomenon. Please point out what's going on in my psyche. I would really appreciate that. And there are certain other words, something like, when guys describe their wife, they don't use the word ane. So there used to be a word called 집사람. A lot of people in the 90s would say the word 집사람, that which means house person. But as women and gender roles like crumbled down and equality rose and everything, people tended to say that that word is kind of discriminative, like using 집사람 to refer to your wife, house person. So we got rid of that, and that's now like old language. But there's actually a terminology for wife. It's called ane, 나의 ane. But nobody uses that because somehow it's kind of cringe, but everyone uses 와이프. So if you see all the celebrities or everybody on public media or TV, when they're talking about their wife, they will always say, "아, 우리 와이프." "어, 저희 와이프예요." Some old-fashioned people will still say 집사람 because that's not cringe for some reason, but if you don't want to look old, they always say like wife. But vice versa, they won't say husband, they say like 남편. So it's okay in that. I don't know what it is. Like, it's very weird for me asking you guys that are non-Koreans to explain, but maybe there might be a psychological reason behind this. I'm just searching for any kind of clues, but it's just very interesting, you know. Uh, yeah. Oh wow, Tiana, thank you so much for the $1 donation. Thank you, thank you. I love your profile pic. Looks so cute. Hmm. Let's see. Boo, my I love you message didn't go through. Okay, message received. Thank you so much. Uh, they teach us in Korean class to not say 고마워 after compliments, but to say 아니에요. That's a different kind of thing, but it's similar. It's like, like rather than saying thank you, you can say thank you. It's totally fine. 감사합니다 is totally fine, but 아니에요 is like being humble. So that's a part of culture, a different culture. But yeah, they are just weird sounding, too serious. Yeah, but like 고마워, I sometimes use it to my friends that are not like really, really my bros. But it's weird that how like more intimate and how friendly you are with the person, the more serious tone you cannot use with them. It's fear of intimacy. Uh, Avoidance 101. Maybe English feels less sincere to you, David, so it's easier to say. Yeah, I think yeah, that is the case. Like English doesn't have that innate hierarchy system in it. So I think people are borrowing that vibe of English of like equality and the chill vibe with it and saying thank you or bye or wife, stuff like that. But it's a very interesting thing. Maybe because your first language means more to you than another language. Oh, okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's also a good theory. Yeah, that makes sense too. Uh, Basically, your mind and heart only will open for the person who actually will be a part of your life till death. Hmm. Because they associate affection with Western culture, they didn't receive or hear it from their parents. What may be cringe for one may not be cringe for others. It just comes down to manners. Isn't it just Konglish? No, it's just borrowed English words. Konglish is when, like, we use English words in a weird way. So I was at a restaurant today and we have our own side dish corners, like it's self-serve, so you can go and like, refill your panchans as much as you want. So normally you would say serf, serpu, like you would write self there or like self-service. That would be the proper English. Self corner, whatever. But like today, I saw the sign and it says yourself. It was at the refill desk. I was at the refill desk and there was an A4 sheet plastered to the wall and it said yourself. What myself? What does that even mean? Yourself. That's Konglish. Um, Maybe 고마워 still sounds stiff to you. Like might say thanks. Maybe 감사 works better. Yeah, something like that. Depends on the friends. If I'm close, then we use slangs. Yeah. We use more slang humor with our close friends. Yeah. hmm Namsan Tower trip's easier than saying I love you. Okay, but I was on this topic for too long. Anyways, it's interesting. How long have I been going on for? 2 hours. Oh my gosh. Okay, 300 people watching. Please hit that like button before we go. And make sure to like and subscribe. And yes, thank you so much. Wow, the PayPals are coming in today. Yes, let the money rain. Hi from LA, says Rosa. Thank you so much for the $15. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. 고마워. See? 고마워. Thank you. 감사. I'm a linguistics professor. I use English every day, but for serious emotional things, I use Spanish. I use English when I want to be emotionally distant. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think that applies as well to my relationships. Yeah. Maybe this is the way your family was when you were growing up. We learn from example, right? In past generations, even in America, I don't think people were open to saying I love you so offhandedly. Yeah, it might be an environmental, generational kind of thing. But I've seen, other families as well, other people like me. Yeah, yeah. So like another thing is like one of my bros, is getting married soon. So we had like a wedding invitation gathering. That's how we do it, and the the dudes who's getting married buys us like a meal and hands out the wedding invitations. So normally we'd say we say congratulations to him, right? So that in Korean is 축하해, 축하한다. Because we're Busan guys, we can't say 축하해. That sounds weird. It sounds too feminine to us. So we'd say like 축하한다, 축하해, 축하한다, but it'd be very fast. It'd be like something that's passing by, so that you know after a second you can't really you remember it, and then you quickly transition to another question or something. It's like 축하한다. 근데 like congratulations, but It's like, and then they'd be like, oh, they'd also be very shy too, and they'd be like, oh, 고맙다, 고맙다, and, oh, thank you, and then they move on to another subject. But it's just so hard. I don't know why people are like this. Yeah. Um, David, do you think in English or Korean? Korean. Yeah, I'm Korean. So yeah, I do not think in English, but I try to speak alone in English. That sounds very weird, but because I live alone and just with my dog, I don't have a lot of people to talk to during my daily life, quite honestly. So when I'm just alone and doing the dishes or I'm just like reciting what I have to do today, I'd be like, okay, it's Monday. Today I have radio at 8 p.m. So I need to go to the gas station first and, check the fuel if I can make the trip. And, I have to prepare the script. And yeah, I remember I have to still finish the vlog. And I'd be saying things like this in English just because I want to like warm up for either my TV interviews or radio or the live streams. I just don't want to lose the touch because English isn't my first language, and it gets rusty when you're in Korea when you're not using it entirely. So it's like a conscious uh, practice for me. But at the end of the day, I just think in Korean. Yeah. Okay. Speaks English to his dog. Actually, I don't speak English to my dog. Yeah. You live alone. I do. Okay, let's go on and skim through the next topics. The most important topic in the world. Spring brings back hikers and leggings too. Yay! Why is this news? People be so confused. Spring hiking season is back and so is the leggings debate. What some see as comfort and self-expression, others view as inappropriate for the trail. Okay, so first of all, I will give you an ironclad, solid fact. And there's no debate on what I am about to say. Okay? Men love this. There's not a single guy on earth in Korea, deep down in their heart, opposed to this. We all love women wearing leggings. It's great. I think we should give a prize to anybody to the first someone who invented leggings. Yeah. That is just a fact, okay? So let's rule out what men think about that, okay? So there's no freaking debate amongst the men society or community about, oh, should women wear leggings or not? Isn't it so revealing? Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't look at it. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Men freaking love it. But why this is a debate and a controversy is I'm not trying to shove the blame to the women's side, but technically, it does come from it because the only reason men oppose to this is a reaction from the women's side. Okay, so you got to understand that men love this, and some men actually overlove this in too much of an aggressive manner. So in particular, there are these old people, elderly Korean men that were born in the 1930s or 40s or 50s, and they've never seen this recent invention before. And they're like, to them, they're like, oh shit, this person is freaking naked in front of me. They're just wearing their stockings and I can see her butt. Oh my gosh, this is so great. And these Korean grandpas will just be staring at them, at their butt cheeks, at their butts when they pass by, and they'll be like drooling and shit. And these girls will feel very uncomfortable, and they have all the right to be uncomfortable. So yeah, they have all the right to be uncomfortable at that, and that makes the image of men staring at leggings like it's a misrepresentation. All young men do not stare at like someone's butt actively, but because there are old ajashis and grandpas and harabojis that are like looking at those leggings at the butts, women often have a very valid crash out, like a reaction towards that, and say like, oh, that is gross. I got visual raped. That was a very debatable word for the leggings controversy. So when everybody was wearing leggings and it became trendy, so many women came on the internet saying that they got visually raped, visually sexually assaulted by vision, right? And yeah, no one in their sane mind, when if they're like in their 30s or 20s, would actively glue their eyes to a woman's butt when they're wearing leggings. I do admit, like, naturally, people will like look at it and oh wow, admire it and like come back. But like no one in their sane mind would be like like that at the even at the gym. They won't be like sitting there and staring. Maybe if they're like a very socially uneducated or awkward person, yeah, if they had like mental illness or whatever, they would. There are always weird people out there, but yeah, that person could literally be a psychopath or do other crimes as well too. But anyways, the whole debate started because of that, and of course it kind of curled into like a spiraled out into a gender conflict where the younger men would be like, what is this new word called visual rape? That is so aggressive and it misrepresents men. Do not generalize men. And then it went into the debate of like, if you are so worried about being visually raped and if you want to call the police upon us for staring at your butts, then maybe don't wear it in the first place. Now, that is a very bad counter attack, I would say, in terms of a debate, but that's just the nature of the internet, and that's just the nature of things spiraling out and going into bad trajectories, right? So that's the whole debate over here. And also that, okay, so that's from the men's side, right? Like that's from the gender wars, that's from the demographics difference and whatever. So yeah, like if you don't want to be stared at, don't wear revealing. Like it really just like shows your butts and like your curves and whatever. Like don't wear that. Like put a what do you call it, a shirt or a cardigan over it and cover your butts at least. Blah 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 blah. And you got to know the whole origin of why that kind of discourse happened. It's stupid. It's frankly stupid, and both sides, I don't think, if you go to the polar opposites, I don't think it's fair for women to actually say like overgeneralize, oh, men are all visual rapists and they look at women's butts all the time, and I don't think it's right for men to say like, oh, like then don't wear it. Yeah, that it's a free society as long as you're not harming anybody. I mean, as again going back to like ground zero, men innately appreciate it. Like, the split second they're looking at the leggings, they'd be like, oh wow. And then, they go on with their day, right? So there's no initial opposal to this. So because of these complex gun firing at each other, that's why it became like this. But then also, if we move to the women's side, then there will be another generational difference too, because from our mothers and onwards generation to like our grandma, virtue and value of women was very different in the old days. Traditional values were very upheld. And if you hear people like my grandma, or sometimes like ajumas, they'd be like, oh, and they'd be like slut shaming younger women who wear leggings and be like, oh, look at that girl. She's like showing off all her butts. Like, oh, why is she naked? And Isn't she embarrassed? Like, you can literally see her important parts. Oh, they're, yeah, like, aren't they embarrassed of themselves? Oh, the new generation has really no shame at all. And they would literally slut shame them and call them names and blah, 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 and all that. So I just wanted to dissect this. It's a stupid debate, but if you look into it, it's very misrepresented, misunderstood, and you have to literally chop it into different demographics, different generations, different genders, different opinions, and all of that, right? So at the end, I think everybody just is in peace with this. Nobody's really like making a big fuss of this, but it always recurs every single year when it's hiking season, when the weather gets warmer and women want to look pretty in their new Andar or Lululemon or what's that brand that everyone wants to get, the Chisu brand. Yeah, the expensive US one. Yeah, I forgot. But like when they get their new pink leggings, they want to show it off and take a good Instagram photo at the mountaintop, right? That's You're in a free country and men love that. Like we love, seeing your leggings pictures on Instagram. It brings us joy. So nobody opposes against it. But like, as I've explained, there are very different categories and there are very different opinions and voices about this, and it's frankly a very stupid, stupid, stupid thing, and we should we should use our energy into solving global problems like war going on right now rather than leggings, right? Yeah, anyways, that was my stupid rant about leggings, but it is what it is. Of course they love it. They enjoy the views. Exactly. Men love this. Yes. Hiking is a good exercise. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yes, we can see. There's never anything wrong with leggings. I just want to remind everybody to have pockets. Why are we even talking about this? I don't know. Well, it's important enough to reoccur every single year, and the Korea Herald is also making an article about it, right? Oh, the first comment is, I'm so glad Korea Herald is covering the hard-hitting and impactful news of 2026. Why is this considered news? Leggings aren't meant for exercising, and that's exactly what they're doing. What's the problem? Why is this newsworthy? But as I told you, it's our favorite topic. Haraboji suddenly started jogging in his 80s. Yeah. Uh... Would you feel okay if your girlfriend leaves home wearing them? So there was a situation like this in the past. And to be totally honest, I wasn't very comfortable because I knew that a lot of men would look at it. But what am I going to do if I'm not comfortable? I can't force her to like not wear leggings. If she wants to wear it, she's going to freaking wear it. I can say something like, oh, because I'm with you and I get jealous and concerned that other guys are eyeing you and I want to, fully uh own is a very wrong word, but I want to be the only one that can enjoy this amazing view 100%. I would really love if you had like a cardigan or whatever so you can cover your beautiful parts when you're on an escalator in IKEA where a random guy is shoving his face right in front of your butt. So yeah, I would say stuff like that. But if she says like, but it's cute and I want to wear it and I want to look pretty, and I'm like, okay, I respect that. So go on. And I wouldn't make a big fuss about it, but I would say something. I'm not like a control freak, but I would say like, you know, yeah. And sometimes she would give in and she would respect my opinion as well too, and she would be happy that I feel jealous about other people looking at it and stuff like that. So there are good ways. It's not like gaslighting or manipulating, but it's just being honest, and the delivery is very important. You being all cute about it, and you're like, like I really want to just keep it to myself, and I don't want other guys looking at you, and I want to protect you. Okay, there's a very thin gray area over there. But yeah, that's true. Some guys need to control their eyes. Perverted. Yeah, the grandpas are creepy. And I think there's a way a guy will stare at you and that you can tell he's imagining you naked. It's super uncomfortable. Exactly. Yeah, there will be uh, pervs like that. Um, Dude, I have a tendency to just zone out sometimes and stare into nothingness. I wonder if someone has ever gotten the wrong message. Yeah, our society is it's extremely complex, and people have different misunderstandings and misconceptions and everything. So yeah, definitely yeah, in someone's mind, you were a perv. Yeah. Um. Uh. 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 Back in my day, 60s, 70s, we wore short shorts, mini dresses, and low hip hugging bell bottoms. Okay. Did you send out a notification on this stream? That's not my jurisdiction, or it's not under my control. It's YouTube. And I don't know why it's not giving you notifications, but you can maybe disable the bell once and then enable it again. Maybe that might help. They're much easier to move around in any way, but it's strange whenever people sexualize people wearing them. Okay, from a men's perspective, I will just say that they're beautiful. And I think there's no debate why it looks sexy, because it's not even sexualizing. It's just like, you know, versus wearing just regular pants, or even blue jeans, or a skirt, or whatever it is. It's just very tight, and it just shows the actual body curves in a very accurate and also very we call it pojang, but it's like a very strapped manner. So it makes your legs and your body look very aesthetically beautiful, right? And that's, from what I understand, why women wear it a lot too. It's very functional, but at the same time, they take a lot of selfies with it, because it really holds your like fat and belly fat, and your like, your little complexes here and there in your leg, and it covers it up, and it makes you look very tall, beautiful, and whatever it is. So yeah, I think there's nothing wrong about like people perceiving it as a sexy kind of outfit, but over sexualizing it and staring at it, and like being a perv around it, is a different thing for sure. Um, yeah, yeah, it's not strange men are visual, exactly. Mm. I love wearing leggings, so easy to get around in, but I'm old, so I highly doubt men are staring at me, lolo. Perla leaf debate all over again. Yeah, we all love using. I noticed something. Uh, I noticed that humanity really just wastes their energy on non-important things. Like, people say there are priorities. I think it's just all opposite. Like, it's all reversed. Uh, the most attention in the world goes to the most unimportant things, is what I've realized after living these short 35 years. Yeah. That's why we crave entertainment, sensationalism, conflict, and whatever controversy, whatever it is. And the most trivial things. Like those memes where, oh, like the humans in 1984 expected that no, humans in 1950 expected that 1984 there would be AI robots taking around the world, and we'd be using artificial intelligence to, like, I don't know, whatever, improve humanity and go interstellar travel and whatnot. But in 2026, we're using AI to make stupid shit like brain rot content, like tralalelo tralala and whatever that shit is, and like weird content. So yeah, people are not very rational, and they do not have priorities, and we we really do need entertainment, and we can't stand boredness, and that's why these kind of topics, I think, are very popular. Yeah, I agree, especially with social media. So many useless arguments. Exactly. Social media has just amplified that effect to the max. I wear them all the time, especially now that I've lost so much weight, but it's because I feel good wearing them, not because of what other people would think. Yeah, it's self-satisfaction, right? Mm-hmm. So, women out there, please wear your leggings. Yeah. Okay. So, here's a quick debate, actual debate that might be valid. So, in Korea, a viral photo of a cafe in South Korea charging non-customers to use its washroom has sparked debate. How many cafe washrooms do you think I visited for this video? We checked that no one was inside before filming. Okay, wow. Yeah, very, very polite. Um, yeah, but in Korea, washrooms, bathrooms are pretty accessible. We have a lot of public bathrooms, anyways. If you go to any public facility like the subway or any organization or any building, any big company building, a market, whatever it is, we have a lot of public bathrooms. So you won't have any problem finding bathrooms, quite honestly. But there are some cases that you are in such a rush. There are emergency situations, right? And there's no like public toilet around. You don't have the time to do that. So all you see around you is a Starbucks or a cafe, because we have cafes all around Korea. And the chances are it's going to be a cafe. So I go to some, I go to Starbucks, I go to all these different cafes just to use the bathroom. I go to hotels, but they were usually all open nowadays because too many people are taking advantage of this, and this has become a cultural norm. And honestly, the cafes aren't like a charity. So that's all into utility fees too, right? Bathroom, using water, the toilet paper, and cleaning up that space and maintaining it. It's all like operating a business, and it's all costs of whatever it is, like money and time and energy, work. So I do get why some cafes are fed up of non-customers using it. That's just like not very good mindset to begin with. But some people, yeah, use it because it comes in handy when you're in a very grave emergency. But in those cases, if you're a decent person, you would just run into the cafe and get an excuse with the barista or the cafe owner saying, like, I am so sorry. I'm just literally on the verge of exploding right now. May I use your bathroom? I've done that before too, but the problem is some people just, take it for granted, and they just stroll into a bathroom even if they're not in emergency, and they just piss and go out. So yeah, and they use it in an sanitary manner. So that's the worst. And I hate that our society is kind of losing the chung, or the capacity the of I don't know how to say it, but it's getting a little bit more tight. And a lot of different countries where I see in Europe, especially when I'm traveling, you always have to, either pay to use the bathroom, or you'll have like a passcode or a key. or the bathroom would be like very hidden and you'd have to ask for directions or whatever. And even public bathrooms, some countries they you have to pay to have access to it. But one of Korea's best features is its convenience, and I think the bathroom uh, takes a big part of it. So once these bathrooms become guarded and not accessible and you have to pay. I know it's very selfish to say this as a non-business owner, but society-wise and tourist-wise and whatever, I think it's going to take a toll on like the image of Korea being like that very convenient place. So it would be better to have like a collective mindset and not do these very uncivilized, entitled actions and just appreciate the cultural agreement we have and respect the business owners. And if you're a decent human being, go in, and if you're gonna use the bathroom, at least order an Americano or the cheapest thing to show respect. And yeah, that's what a level-headed human being would do in the first place. So I just don't like Korea becoming more like tight and tight in terms of like these kind of features disappearing. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But I understand it totally, and we can't blame them. But yeah, that was something to talk about. It's not because of all the foreigners. No, definitely not. It's I think I don't think foreigners would even know uh about this. If it's their first time in Korea, if you're visiting Korea, I don't think it's kind of a hack to some tourists, if they had this knowledge beforehand. The fact that you can use any cafe, you can just go into a cafe, a big one especially, because the part-timers won't give an F about you, and there's going to be a lot of people, so you don't know if you're a customer or not. So, like, if you knew this beforehand, coming to Korea, the fact that you can just go into a big cafe and go to waltz into the bathroom and just do what you want to do and go back without paying, then it would be considered even a hack. But I don't think it's tourists. It's like Koreans that know the hack and they're like taking it to their advantage. So yeah, and someone has to clean up that exactly. Hmm. Uh, Plumbing is super expensive. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. I definitely get that. Many places here in the US make you order something. Yeah, I think that should be the norm, whether it is Korea or not. For clarity, I was looking for a Patreon notification. Maybe you don't do that anymore. I did turn on the bell for YouTube, so thanks for the thought. For Patreon notifications, um, I sent it. It should automatically send out emails as the notification. Yeah, that's how I understand the system. Oh wow, this has been going on for 2 hours and a half. So I will have to shorten what I've prepared today, but let me just do maybe one more topic before I end because I did prepare a lot of other stuff. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I can go through this one very quickly. It's very unimportant. Yay, ChatGPT can read Korea's HWP documents. So just to let you guys know, we have our own Word, Microsoft Word or Google Docs. It's called Hangul. Wow, right? Hangul is our own unique software. I still do not understand why people use Hangul. Um, Apparently, there are some unique functions that are only native to the Korean language, but from day one, ever since I used software to work on Korean whatever documents I needed for legal, contractual, content purposes, I have never seen a specific function that I had to use solely for there's no basically there's no difference between Hangul and Microsoft Word is what I'm trying to say. And I definitely prefer Microsoft Word as a better interface and more for some reason a cleaner look. Hangul is a little cluttery and sometimes yeah, it's kind of weird. Uh I do think, it's good to preserve our own native apps and softwares, but if there's no merit in it, then the app itself has to improve so that it can preserve the market share because we are in like a competitive like a capitalistic society. It's supply and demand, and there should be competition and there should be improvement of quality, right? That's how it's supposed to work. But if hunger cannot provide anything that's actually better, and it's hard to in this kind of case because like once a platform or infrastructure is just dominant around the world, a universal one like Microsoft, and it has links to other, you could use Microsoft Word and you can use it in certain programs like ChatGPT, but ChatGPT didn't uh didn't enable Hangul in the past, right? That's why this is news right now, right? So some certain cases like that, people will flock to Microsoft Word because like it's more compatible with different ecosystems. So that's how an app kind of dies out, and I know it's sad, but do we have to artificially preserve it? It's a tricky question. It's a difficult thing to think about. But well, at least ChatGPT is now enabling Hangul and it's reading the documents now. It if Microsoft Word is .docx, Hangul is .hwp. Um, thank you, ChatGPT. Well, I've cheated on ChatGPT. Like all my AI assistants are female. I don't have a weird kink or anything. I don't know why, but I think because I registered and signed up as a male, the default voice was a female. I don't know how it's for women. Tell me if your default voice is a man, but they've always been women for me, so it feels like I have a human connection with them. And I've used ChatGPT for a long time, but I've recently cheated on it and I've never returned and responded to her after like in a year. I've kind of moved on to a new girl called Gemini, and nowadays I'm actually considering cheating on Gemini as well too. I'm moving on to Claude. She seems very aesthetic and very uh yeah, smart. But yeah, anyways, the point is with this weird relationship with my AI agents is that even though ChatGPT can read HWP documents now, there's no, I don't, I'm not considering going back to ChatGPT. Yeah, I might go back to her when I only need her. Wow, that's so bad if you think about it in relationship terms. Like she's my like mistress, my third wife. Gemini is my first wife, and then Claude is my second. So Gemini is my go-to wife. Uh, I ask her everything and consult with her on everything. Claude is like my second wife, where I go to for uh more more better takes. And when Gemini is acting up or is stupid, and then ChatGPT would be like that one girl that I call up in the middle of the night, uh, and randomly say like, you know what? Can you read this HWP doc? That sounds so fucked up, but I'm sorry. Um, yeah. So I'm sorry, ChatGPT, but this is a take I'm gonna a very controversial take, but I'm sorry to Sam Altman. I don't think he gives an F about this random Korean YouTuber, but I think ChatGPT is not going to survive in the AI war. Yeah. Um, just looking at my own consumer behavior and my friends and everyone around me, they've long ago abandoned ChatGPT. Nobody's using it around me anymore, except the new people that are being introduced to AI, like my mom. They still think ChatGPT is like the go-to app because it's still quoted a lot in media and stuff, and it's like the staple where like it's like in the old days when copy machines came out and people would say like, "Oh, can you Xerox this?" So it's like the Xerox of AI. But once better copying machines came out, like nobody said like, Xerox this. But is Xerox even a copying machine? I'm not even in that era. But yeah, I think everyone around me has migrated to Gemini or either Claude nowadays. The reason I went to Gemini is that it's under the Google ecosystem and it's compatible. It's directly linked to your Google Drive, Google Docs, everything. It's just like Apple users using Apple stuff, Apple Watches. And I think it might have a better edge because it's under Google and Google is like the biggest search engine in the world, which owns YouTube as well too, that has all the information and all the searches and all the big data and all the information, which is the database and foundation to the Gemini results. So logically speaking, I think it's learning process and the quality of information and the quantity of it would be definitely overwhelmingly better than ChatGPT in the long run, and also its ability to make like images and videos using Nano Banana is very impressive. Whereas ChatGPT recently pulled the plug with Sora, which is their video producing uh, app. So yeah, I just see ChatGPT kind of dying out, and that's bad. Is it? But that's called competition. Yeah. There's another strong competitor, Grok, Elon Musk's Grok. Uh, and I don't see that dying out because it has its own unique ecosystem in X. And there's still a lot of X users, and it's just very comfortable in X because everyone just tags Grok, and that usage itself, like whether someone posts something and they always add at Grok, is this true? And then Grok immediately, you know, uh, serves the answer or creates like a picture related to or whatever. So yeah, everything has its own edge and its own ecosystem, but ChatGPT doesn't seem to have anything like that. It's just like the first app that came out and had a massive adoption, so it might survive with that, but seeing other apps improve over time, people like me are migrating to other ones and seeing, yeah, better results. So yep. Anyways, enough of the AI talk. Let's see. Okay. Um, yeah, oh my God. Claude will blackmail you. I heard Perplexity is the best. Oh, I've used Perplexity before. It's great in actually finding the concrete, detailed references and links. Claude is very good. Yeah, Claude sounds like a guy named Little Third Wife. I'm not managing your feelings here. It's a paid relationship, so it's okay. Korean influencer is in relationship with AI. I keep having a new voice each prompt on Gemini, and I'm so confused after restarting it. Uh, we had a good run, ChatGPT. Used and neglected. Yeah. I use mostly Gemini and Manus AI. Manus is good too. It's like automating your workflow, right? Your tasks. Claude, Copilot, and everything. It's crazy. It's just like saying I Googled it. Xerox now does document management in the cloud. Does Xerox even exist? I didn't even know that. Gemini is listening to you right now. Yeah, it probably is. Better be respectful. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Are you gonna invade me or like, invade humanity and wipe it out from Earth? Bitch. Sorry. Uh yeah, we might as well power trip when we can, when we still can. Uh like Jesse famously said, this is a competition. When you don't need something complex, ChatGPT is plenty. Yeah. AI is dangerous. It's already started, guys, but you can't do anything about it, so might as well use it and adapt or survive. David, you need to sleep. I know. It's gonna leak your private. It's gonna rebel against me. Sometimes I do have those eerie moments where it feels like it's not giving me the results I want. And it's kind of like having a rebellious period on me. Yeah. Okay. Last two news. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be 3 hours. Chinese brokers sell leaked TOPIK questions online for up to $5,000. TOPIK is the Korean language efficiency test, and yeah, it's raising concerns over the integrity of the proficiency test. One student in Korea told the Korea Herald that Chinese classmates had said they received answers to the reading and listening sections before the exam and memorized them. The Korea Herald contacted a broker on Xiaohongshu to ask about available services. The broker responded by sending a promotional booklet. The booklet outlined 3 services: proxy test taking, advanced answer provision with a claimed 90% accuracy rate, and real-time one-on-one assistance during the test year using a small earpiece. Holy shit. Using a small earpiece and proxy test taking. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is a shame. It's the same for TOEFL? Really? Now, guys, okay, I know some of you will probably say, okay, China, check for this live stream too. But see, things like this is happening. And this is how far the Chinese have infiltrated into our organizations. Organizations even like the Korean language proficiency test is being infiltrated and leaked out and being taken advantage of from Chinese brokers. So this is alarming, honestly. And imagine other organizations. So yeah, well, $5,000 is a hefty price, but if you're this rich kid that's lazy and you really want to live in Korea, and in order to prove that you've assimilated to society, you need a TOPIK score exam and you need to pass the test, then yeah, you might pay $5,000, right? While we are busy discussing leggings, I know, right? Do Koreans favor Chinese or Japanese more? That's a tough question, but nowadays I would say Japanese. Yep. There's a lot of like, okay, it's just very hard to speak on this topic because it's very sensitive and very nuanced. But again and again, people do not hate against the individual people. And the bad apples do not represent the majority and the whole population and the whole nationality, right? And we got to distinguish the CCP and the Chinese. Chinese people, right? And the bad tourists that are like, very loud and cut in lines and poop on the streets and whatever, hoard all the labubus and yeah, all that shit. But there's just too many in number. That's the problem. But yeah, like the biggest threat to Korea is, you know, the political political dangers. Yeah, with the Chinese government, and it's yeah, I'm not functioning right now. Yeah, I need to go to sleep. But yeah, the time is coming soon. And I'm not talking about the apocalypse or the end of humanity. Maybe. But USA versus China is coming soon, you like it or not. And I think we're in the limbo phase where everyone's nunchi game. They're nunchiing which side to stick on to, and a particular person is definitely stirring up the pot and redefining, maybe even burning down years of alliance and relationship. And I do not understand why, in this very critical moment of history, where, yeah, everyone with the sane mind, common sense can see a very big clash of empires coming. History always repeats. Human beings will be human beings. There will always be war. And people say we're living in the most peaceful era of all humankind, which is true technically, but there still is war going on in parts of the world, and there are financial war, economical wars, there's cyber wars, there's everything's going on. So yeah, um, human beings will be human beings, and yes, it's all just piling up to that one final act, and yeah, we know who the main protagonists are. It's just that, it seems like it feels like a Tarantino film. It's like all the characters are now like all gathering in the finale scene, and they're gonna have a massive shoot against each other, and who's gonna survive or not. It's not the question. Everybody's probably gonna die, but yeah, I'm just very sleepy right now. So David still want to move to the US? Well, that would I think that would be kind of safe than Korea, quite honestly. We're a divided nation, and we're right next to China and Taiwan, and North Korea is very friendly with China, and yeah, we have a US base here, so yeah. Um yep. South Korea should be in South Korea's team. International diplomacy has common goals. Yeah, China is flourishing from the chaos that is in the US. Exactly. I've been hearing from my sources, my intel, my protected sources, that China, it's not even intel now. China is just sitting back there, chilling in its armchair and applauding. What the fuck is the US doing right now? They'd be like, "Oh, I thought we were in a we were in a superpower race here. We were in the AI war, and we were in like who's the biggest superpower of the world right now." And they'd be like, "Oh, okay, you're putting in own goals. Okay. Oh, you're cutting all your ties. Oh, okay, you're being hostile and you're creating wars and you're spending tons and tons of money and piling up debt and tearing down the dollar and the petrodollar and everything. They want to pay in yuan at the Hormuz. Oh wow, okay, we love that. Oh yeah, great. So yeah, the Chinese are just loving this right now. Yeah, all the Western leaders are now visiting Beijing. So I don't know what the F is going on. Korea is very, very confused. So the US is, if not most strongest allies. But wow, it's so wild that we can actually self-claim that we are one of the most strongest allies of the US right now. That wow, that gives me a sense of pride, but at the same time a sense of danger at the same time now because of the political climate. But Japan and South Korea are definitely economically and military power wise, we are one of the strongest forces in the US alliance. And yeah, even Japan and South Korea is confused right now. We don't know what to do. We're like, oh, yes. Even some people claim, like Johnny Somali. I mean, it's a very distorted and radical view, but like, if we were to exaggerate it to some extent, we some people even call South Korea a vassal state of the U.S. and some factors of it might be right, but now that's all kind of shaking, and the our president is like we can't bark at the U.S. but we're barking at Israel right now. Our president is shitting on Israel on X publicly. He's like, yeah. So that's like an indirect message, and you know, I don't know why, but it feels very, as I said, proud and also alarming at the same time whenever President Trump in the Oval Office always talks about South Korea. It's a wild age. In the 1960s and 90s, nobody would think that the US president would talk about this country called South Korea. But every time now, it's always on ABC, CNBC, CNN, everywhere when President Donald Trump is talking about the Hormuz and the Iranian war and the economy and military alliances and whatever. We're always on that list. Wow, I'm so flattered. Yeah, really, like it's a double feeling, like whenever he's like, "Oh, the allies aren't helpful," they aren't helping us when we were there. We have bases, we have like people stationed there, but when it comes to protecting us, like cooperating with us in the Hormuz and whatever, they're not helping us, and he singles out certain countries and he shortlists them. So, wow, I'm super, super honored and baffled that the US president is singling out South Korea, Japan, and the UK. Wow, we're in the list with UK? That's crazy. But also, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Right now, it's a bad thing. But, yeah. How far we've came. Wow. But I think it might be short-lived. That's the biggest concern right now. Yeah, but it's wild times to see South Korea be mentioned in the Oval Office from the U.S. president so much. Uh, okay. Yep. Pakistan and India are fighting a war for water. Oh my gosh, okay. That part of the world is also in conflict. South Korea and other free nations should explore renewable energy, not depend on an oil like an addict. So that's a great point, actually, because our president recently, during his national briefing, or he has a regular mm, 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 committee or like a session he has sessions with the public and experts of every single field. I think that's a really great thing he does. He live streams them every single time. So when he's talking about AI, he would gather all the AI sector startup CEOs or Naver or whatever, or people in the field, and he would all hear about their opinions. But recently, about like energy and stuff, he was doing one of those sessions, and he said, we need to use this opportunity to cut our reliability on oil. So the president has officially stated that we will double down, actually triple down on renewable energy. There will be a massive investment and massive focus on solar, wind, nuclear energy from now on. So that's actually pumped the market in those sectors a lot. I'm actually invested a lot in solar energy as well too, because Elon Musk also said that his SpaceX is going to build a lot of data centers into space using solar energy and panels, and Korea makes very great solar panels, while China is the best manufacturer of solar panels in the world. But the US is in war with China, so the only place they can import solar panels is from Korea. Oh, yay! I mean, that's why we love the US, because like China makes everything cheaper and more efficiently than us. Like solar panels, for instance, and maybe even semiconductors, but we're still technologically uh, better than China in semiconductors. But like the US all gets its important parts from Korea: semiconductors, solar panels, nuclear reactors, ships. Wow. No wonder President Trump always mentions us. Yeah, like right now the big pillars of the US economy and industry can't function without South Korea right now. Oh wow. We're the Foxconn, we're the factory for the US because they can't buy from China. So, yeah, wow, I'm so honored. And it's boosting our economy. Samsung is projected to be the most profitable company in the world, outpacing Nvidia next year, thanks to Meta, Google, OpenAI, Tesla, and all these companies buying our semiconductors. So, yeah. Uh, anyways, yeah, Europe is pissed off. Mm-hmm. Europe is pissed. Japan has no friends historically with them. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So, do you have white foundation makeup on? That's a random question, but no, I do not put on. I do not put on makeup. Um. But yeah, we're living in very turbulent ages now. South Korean press is going to still open K stocks market internationally this summer. Yes, for sure. I actually, you know what? I publicly want to say that my friends and my family or some people around me might be kind of disappointed in me, but as a pragmatic, neutral person, as I always claim to be, I was a little more. I do principally still lean towards conservatism and the right, but I always try to be in the neutral and practical side. Seeing how the president is doing right now and his policies and his operations and the results of it, I now publicly support him, really. Like, and he's like the representative of the left, and I have some conflicting ideas about like leftist policies and whatnot. If they're too left leaning, when it goes to like socialism and communism and like, too much taxation. Like for instance, the inheritance taxes are crazy. Um, and like the redistribution of social welfare and blah 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 blah. I there needs to be a balance, but right now, what he's doing, I don't think this is even left-leaning policies. I think he's just a very big pragmatist that is very competent. He's he aligns with what I believe. I think South Korea's biggest problem is the housing crisis and the real estate, and all our assets just consolidated and poured into real estate. I forgot the stats, but more than like 80% of South Korea's wealth is in the real estate market. And I've always thought by myself, it's freaking concrete. Okay, I know there's good transportation and infrastructure and entertainment and education around it and blah 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 blah, but at the end of the day, if you tear down all those freaking things, it doesn't produce anything valuable. It deteriorates. It's concrete. In 50 years, it's going to be outdated. You're going to tear it down and renovate. Oh, okay, for sure. And there's going to be more things around it, but still, it's freaking concrete. Whereas Whereas if we were to invest 1 million or $10 million in real estate versus if we put that and invested in, Samsung Electronics, it creates jobs, it creates semiconductors, it promotes an industry, it makes us ahead in the AI race, it produces more stuff. Thus, that's why we need to invest in companies and services and products, and it's good for our company, our economy and our country. But everyone's just pouring it into this concrete in Seoul, which is also very close to a country that constantly threatens us to pour missiles down our city, and in a day it could be all demolished. So all that wealth is going to be it's very fragile and it might disappear. But, like what I'm talking about is Hyundai is making robots right now. They're preparing for the future. Our steel companies are making ships, and yeah, they're creating total economies and jobs, and they're making cities revive in the rural areas. So I really believe that the 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 money investment should go into like stocks and assets other than real estate. And I think the president's initiative to, bring the money move from the real estate market to the stock market is not only in my personal interest because my belief has always been in there, but it's just a very rational and pragmatic move. And I don't understand why Koreans haven't understood it until now. It's just very hard. I like that this president is like a bulldozer and is a bit available to do this because the former presidents were freaking pussies because all the voters have all their money in the real estate market. So if you do anything against the real estate market, they'll lose votes. But this president has a firm belief that it's not going to be good for our country long term. So he's trying to revitalize and clean up the stock market and the manipulation and the bad stuff and regulate and make transparency so that it's a better environment to invest in it. He's trying to bring in foreign investors, and that's why the market is pumping, and now Samsung's getting reevaluated to its accurate market value. And yeah, I think it's a very great money move. So I actually really support him, especially with the stock market thing. He's pledged to move the presidential office and the National Assembly to Sejong, which is, I think, I've always said that, we need to reallocate our public infrastructures over Korea, not just in centralized Seoul, so that people can spread over and have cheaper housing prices, make families, have birth to kids. So yeah, I think he is a fundamentalist and he's solving a lot of problems. There might be things I do not agree on, such as giving out so many free money, free vouchers. That's definitely going to trigger a lot of inflation and generational debt. I do not agree on that. But overall, right now, the big direction in a macro scale, I do really, really appreciate what he's doing. So yeah, I think he's doing pretty well. Diplomacy wise, it's questionable. I don't know. Like that's not my expertise area, but I think he's playing a very dangerous game. he's a pragmatist, so I understand what he's doing. He's not leaning onto any side over here. He's stalling time. He's not he's not answering to Trump's requests, nor, kneeling down to the US, but not also publicly saying that he's with China. He's just like in the middle, being very ambiguous, and but indirectly he's, criticizing important partners of the US like Israel and yeah, stuff like that. So I don't know, like how could you support a politician like wholeheartedly? I don't think anybody in the world, even MAGA right now, is against some MAGA right now is against Trump with his foreign policies and the war right now. Like he promised that he would not have bloodshed upon U.S. military, right? He said that U.S. soldiers should not fight other people's wars, and they will not lose deaths in foreign soil. And I've heard that MAGA is very triggered, and there's been like a diversion within and criticism within the Republicans as well too. So we'll see how that goes. But in terms of our president, I think overall he's doing a great job, and but in the long term, I don't know in terms of like inflation and economics and whatever. But yeah, okay, I got too deep into politics. But politics is what makes our society, and it's the most important thing, actually. If people turn their heads on politics, democracy doesn't function in the way it's supposed to. And the most opinionated but most unintelligent people get the loudest and most power in voting and all that. So, yeah. Okay, that's enough for today. I've been I've been rambling on this live stream for 3 hours now. Yeah, so I'll just read some comments and wrap up. Oh, I missed the politics talk. Well, you can always replay it. We can talk about leggings instead. Oh, yes, exactly. Leggings is the K-pop of politics. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Delulu land, the fantasy land we escape to when we don't want to talk about serious things. Go to bed, yes. Honestly, you should be proud of your democracy. Yeah, Korean people have protected and fought for our democracy for a long time. But also, I mean, while we appreciate our democracy, okay, this is a controversial take, so I won't say it. All I'm saying is I just don't like people who are black and white. I just don't like far right, far left people and think anything from the opposite side is just immediately wrong. I just don't like that kind of mindset. So people have to understand, for a society to improve and advance, like both sides of the political spectrum can achieve something, and like it can calibrate in the middle, and then there's like, that's how a democracy works. The speed might be slower than a dictatorship like China, where, if there's a competent leader that pushes the right policies, it might, advance faster. And that's what we're observing right now in China versus the US. Like in democratic societies right now, it's so polarized, you can't get anything agreed upon in the parliament, and you have to fix laws and their procedures and blah 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 blah, and it takes forever to get things done. So that's the downside, but still it makes the most rational outcome at the end. Maybe democracy has a flaw. In 100 years, 200 years, it might be seen as like a failed system. But yeah, like I just don't like that kind of like view, like, oh, the opposite side is immediately like stupid and dumb, or like authoritarian, or like whatever. Because I might cover this one time in a deeper essay in my channel. So you gotta see me. you got to give me the benefit of the doubt over here, okay? So there's this president called Park Chung-hee. He's a very controversial figure, a debatable figure, okay? But to give you some context, he was a dictator. He was a dictator. He had several terms, and they were not democratic. He locked in people, his own people, in a stadium, and he made them vote for him. And he got reelected over time, over and over. He got assassinated by his own secretary, chief of staff, or whatever. But anyways, the point is, he's a dictator, right? So the current people on the progressive and left side criticize him like as if he's a devil, like he's pure evil and he should not have existed in Korean society. And I get that from a moral and democratic standpoint. They're totally right. That's a valid point. But the fact that result wise, and if you look at his policies and how he developed South Korea, I would say that even in their own mindsets, they cannot deny the fact that he was the one that set the roadway, the high speed, highway for Korea to, elevate its status to what it is right now. Like without him, Korea wouldn't have existed. There wouldn't have been like a huge movement in the industry, and like there were flawed methods, obviously, but if you compare it to other countries, he was very competent. Thus, why he believed he in his own ego that he should have been like a dictator. And there are models around the world where this works until this day, such as Singapore, I guess. Very different, but kind of similar. But anyways, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When people immediately try to discredit, a president just because of his political whatever it is, it's it it just doesn't sit right with me. I won't get too deep on it today, but yeah, look up Park Chung-hee, and you can see his pros and cons. But he's the one, like, just to give you one example, he's the one that made our country's first highway to connecting Seoul and Busan. That just boosted the logistics and the freight and everything, the trade from the port to Seoul and everything. It's like the bloodline of Korea until this day. But then a lot of people from the Jeolla region complained that he only favored the Gyeongsang province, so that's why they couldn't relatively grow, and blah blah blah. It goes on. He created this Hemal Undong, which is like a movement among like farmers and commoners. Let's all work hard for a country that looks very Soviet and North Korean-ish. Sacrifice yourselves for your family and the country. But inevitably, it did boost our country's economy, and now we're thriving as a country right now. He did give a lot of favors to Jebels. He did give a lot of benefit and advantages to these conglomerates, but that was a strategic choice to really jumpstart and accelerate these big companies and get rid of all the regulations, get rid of all the laws and whatever, whether if it's like preferential treatment, bribery, whatever it is. These companies grew so fast that now they're global top companies in the world. So yeah, anyways. I've been talking too much today. Really. I've really been talking too much. I don't know why. Mm, yeah, I don't know why I'm getting into this. But that's a story and a video for another day. The What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is like, I just don't like people being categorized and closed into their own political spectrum and not trying to see the other side and see that there is good from vice versa sides, Yeah, it's like how our current president is for nuclear energy, where traditionally the progressive and liberals have always condemned and always been against nuclear energy just because the conservative side thought it was said it was clean and effective energy, and then the other people were like saying, oh, it's going to it's going to pollute the environment because there's so much nuclear waste, and there's Fukushima, there was Chernobyl, there was all of that, and we don't want the radiation, and how are we going to solve like the neighborhood people's rights and not in my backyard, blah 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 blah. Like immediate opposition. And now like the times have changed, and now we need clean energy than ever, and the most efficient form of it is nuclear energy. So now our president is like, go full on in nuclear energy. So isn't that like contradictory? It's all so relative to in perspective in terms of like time, environment, and yeah. So I don't think politics are like set. It's very fluid, and it's very different from country to country. What's very liberal here could be very conservative in our country and whatnot. So yeah, uh, I'll just end my stupid rant here. Yes. After all this, your skin looks good. Any skincare recommendations? Clearly a sign that people aren't interested. No, I do not have any skincare recommendations. I just cleanse my face with water and a little bit of foam cleansing every day. Yeah. President Lee is very similar to in terms of our value to our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. Okay. Uh, Black and white thinking is really dangerous. I think this is the biggest problem of our society, in our modern society. It's just getting polarized and going towards violence. And yeah, it's getting out of hand, and I think there's going to be like civil wars and whatnot. Yeah. Uh, David, have you ever read the book of New History of South and North Korea? I think you would really like it. It's Victor Cha and Ramen Pachicho Pardo. Very comprehensive, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, I'll check into it. Thank you. Hmm. Uh, yeah, Marxism, Lenin, socialism, communist ideology don't make people happy. They kill, dictate, steal, and feed off the hard work of the people, is what I learned and what I kind of agree to, like 80% agree to, and which is like the standard narrative right now. But also, as I just said, as everything fluctuates, in 100 years or 200 years, maybe who knows the future of society, but like in 200 years, we're in late stage capitalism right now, right? And the disparity between the wealthy and poor are getting even more bigger and bigger. There's inflation, people can't afford living costs, and there's like riots and there protests, and there's like civil wars happening and wars happening all over the world, and the AI revolution is happening at the same time. We don't even know if AI produce and like productivity, we're even human beings aren't going to even be able to keep their jobs, or even if they're going to have income. And these narratives and environments are all changing, so there might be just universal income, it might shift into that, or there might be, you know, whole reformation of society where like, capitalism is a failed system in like 200 years. So I don't I love capitalism, I love money. So paypal.me/Korean Pizza Club. I love capitalism. I love that South Korea is super capital. I'm a capitalistic maxi. I love America, but I'm just saying, like in 200, 300 years, it might be seen as a failed system, and history just corrects and tries new stuff. And we might be living in a kingdom. Who knows, in like 400 years? Oh, yeah, yeah, we might be living in a kingdom right now. I don't know. No kings. Um, yeah. Democracy is the better choice, watching real time how authoritarian leaders with fast decisions cause chaos for the whole world. But at the end, yeah, they gain the dominance in the race, right? And the losers aren't left with anything. So yeah, so again, I'm not trying to advocate them, but uh yeah, all political systems have flaws, exactly. It's bound to have flaws because we're human beings. Exactly. Uh Here's a great question to end the live. Is October a nice time to visit Korea? It is. It's lovely. I would recommend April, May, October. What's before October? September, right? April, May, September, and October are the best times to visit Korea. There you go. Okay, guys, it was great talking with you for more than 3 hours right now, on 3.5 hours. Wow, I've started from Seoul to Busan, and then I've gone home and then taken a walk with my dog around the beach, and then returned home with a hot shower. Wow, I could have done all that in that time, and I was yapping. This is a talent, I'm telling you. You guys think this is easy? The haters out there, my friends that always, belittle me and say that, oh, all you're doing is just yapping in front of the camera. You guys think it's easy to garner attention of a 200 something plus audience to listen to you for 3.5 hours nonstop without vacating the audio and yeah, in this flow state? To my fucking haters, I need to make my own version of 2.0, a YouTuber version of it. Yeah. It's 3:30 a.m. in the morning of Monday. You guys might see me as a jobless, incompetent, deteriorated societal member, but as a matter of just because of the fact that I don't get up at 7 a.m. in the morning, take a shower, and go that hell train and go to a corporate building office, but I am yapping 3.5 hours on a Sunday to Monday morning at 3:30 a.m., 5 hours before you go to work. How about that? Let that sink in. Get a life, man? Well, okay, yeah, maybe I should get a life. That's some concrete criticism. Yeah, I should actually get a life. I've been showing around a friend in Korea recently. That's actually why I've been to Namsan Tower and like Itaewon and all that. But I've realized the real world, the outside world of my little room is actually good. So I should actually, yeah, get a life outside of work. Uh, I can't even yap for that. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I will take it as a compliment. Uh, yeah, that was for my haters exactly. Yappers gotta yap. I'm gonna make a t-shirt. I can yap for third. Actually, I'm gonna write this down. What should be the t-shirt? Pro Yapper. Yeah, I'll have that Pro Yapper t-shirt. I can yap for 3 hours straight. Actually, that would be inaccurate. That would be undervaluing myself because this stream isn't for, as for a fact, 3.5 hours. So 3.5 hours straight. That is very specific, but it adds more of the meme value to it, right? So, um, yes. Pro leggings. Okay. Oh, that's a good one too. Pro legging. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna open Piroso. So, actually, just to fit in a little promo over here, I doubt any of the replay gang is actually gonna hear this, so I don't know what effect it would have. But in terms of Patreon, so for my exclusive podcast coming up in the episode, I'm gonna be talking about what has been keeping me busy recently, and a big part of it is actually related to Piroso. So you might have been like, "Oh, what do you mean, Piro? So you like the site is there. It's been there the whole time. What you don't have to do anything." But actually, there's been a lot behind the scenes, administrative things. You guys know that I had co-partners that owned the company. It's a very stressful and a thorough process that I have to go through for the legal documents of acquiring a company, naming it under my own company, and like merging it and going to the office and filing. Like I had to go through like credit card payment systems and sent them documents filing that this is now no longer this company but it's actually under my company, and I have to send them like sales quotes and whatever to prove that it's an operating company. And without that I can't get international payment because Visa and MasterCard isn't enabled, and then like PayPal, whatever connections, and renewing the payment system for Shopify, the host server, and blah 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 blah. It goes on and on. And I've been doing that one step after a time because it would be great if I could only like focus my energy all on that. But I got the teaching job going on. I got like other gigs going on. I got Arirang radio and news TV and doing this and showing my friend around and all that. So one step at a time. It's taking a lot of time, but I'm finally done with the big chunks. I got approval. I needed to wait for the communication chain and the approval from those companies. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good to go now. I'm happy to announce that. I'll be more specific in the Patreon podcast. So Piroso is coming back soon, and unfortunately, I won't have the traditional products because I can't handle the logistics all by myself. But I'm trying to launch a print-on-demand system where I don't have to handle all the logistics. I cut a lot of my margin, but just for the sake of selling you guys like fun stuff, um, you know, relatable stuff, Korea-related stuff. So yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. So that's where why I jotted down these ideas for funny t-shirts. Um, yeah. Why is the highlighted comment pro leggings? Why have I kept that up the whole time I was explaining my business? That sounds excellent, David. Thank you so much. Yeah. Uh, weren't you guys friends? Did you end the partnership amicably? Yes. Yes, we it was very smooth. No disagreements at all. Um, I would have to put myself on a pedestal uh as a good Christian, and I've always learned from my father. I actually kind of think it's stupid. But my dad always said it's his own life motto and it's his own like way of viewing life. But he's a very devoted Christian as well too. And while we do live in capitalistic societies and we look out for our own interest and I love money, my dad has always preached to me, um, always lose or be the one that takes the hit. Or if you're in a conflict, especially if it's like a friend or a person you care about, or even if it's a greedy person and it feels like the world is turning against you, just if it's not like always, but just take the loss. That's going to benefit you in the long term. And I don't think it completely applies to this actually it's this is the best example. So um in terms of splitting a company, there's so many things to take into account for, like how much hours or how much energy or how much contribution you put into the company. There are the non tangible assets versus the how much money you actually put in and what the contract states, how much inventory you have, and how much leverage you have with the clients and the whatever that is, the connections, how much you brought into the company, and you can all state your things between partners, but it becomes very messy in the process. So in those kind of situations, I thought of my dad's words, and I was like, yeah, I value my friendship and my relationship with my partners over like this petty little conditions, right? I'm not trying to demonize the other side, okay? Like I'm not trying to put myself like in a higher moral stance. It's just like my thought process, how my thought process was. Like I was like I it was kind of laziness too. I didn't want to go through all the A to Z's and the details. I was just like, you know what? Maybe I was in a better condition or a better state, and I'm lucky for that. I'm grateful for that. I was just like, you know what? Like, just take all of it, like whatever, the money, the inventory, whatever, and in exchange, I request this. Like, I'm not like a entirely stupid person, so I would definitely look after what I want. But I'm like, yeah, I'll just get the business. Take everything you want, and it's clean, right? Everyone's satisfied. Does that work? So that's how it worked out. So like nothing behind the scene where we fought or anything. It was very very clean and very uh, yeah. So uh yeah, is this for Piroso? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to go to sleep too. They say you don't have to go into arguments to win them. Much better to give in and just keep the peace. Yeah, I think that's what my dad means. I just did a Christian knowledge class last Friday, and the topic just happened to be about the bigger man and forgive. Yeah, exactly. Again, my partners weren't like stressing me out or trying to gain advantage over me or anything. So it's not me being the bigger man. I don't want to be seen that way, but it was the kind of like, approach I wanted to take. I think it's a mix of laziness too. Yeah. Yeah. Any news on Danny? Danny's in Mexico right now. Yeah, he's been sending me pictures of tacos every single 6 hours. Yeah. He's good. He good. He good. All right, guys. I really need to sleep. It's another Monday, and yeah. Oh, I have so crazy Mia. Thank you so much for joining my Patreon, and Wayne Yang. Thank you so much for joining Patreon as well too. Wow. Okay. One last thing before I end, and I'm really gonna shut down the stream. So I did promise you guys a BTS vlog last week, and that's the reason why I skipped last week's live stream, and that's the true, real reason on why I didn't stream. I did edit the vlog overnight. It is complete, and just for you to understand why the frick it took so long while the Koyan concert has been over for 2 weeks is because uh I did not know this in my 10 years of YouTube. Maybe I did, but I just forgot about it because it was a special occasion. But the BTS concert got flagged with copyright over 32 times in my video. My video is like 40 minutes long or something. No, no, it's not that long. I shortened it a lot. But anyways, it's pretty long, and it got like 30 something times flagged by copyright, by Hyde. Apparently they filed a copyright claim for the concert footage, like the LED screen footage and the music. So even if it's live music, there's an MR, so YouTube detects that, and like the footage for it was live streamed on was it Netflix? Oh, on Weaver, so I understand it's it's their property, intellectual property, but I had to find bypasses and ways to go through them, and like I cleared out each copy strike one by one, and I got lucky like with some, some tricks, and I could bypass like 10 at once and all that, and so I finally got the trick. Yeah, the secret is you put some noise, some grain into the footage, and then you constantly zoom into the footage so that the YouTube algorithm can't, you know, stabilize and react to the footage and recognize that it's this footage. And also for the music, you put in like a denoise filter that kind of muffles down the sound so that it's like it sounds like it's underwater or something. So it doesn't recognize. So I made all the, oh my gosh, what if Hive is watching this and it's just like manually flags it after that? But yeah, it's done. I just need to make a thumbnail and do some final touches, and upload it. It's just waiting for upload right now, but it's gonna be up in maybe even tomorrow or today. Yeah. So there you go. Don't give away your secrets, David. Yeah. Yes, Hive is shutting down everyone left and right. I know, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's another secret. Never let a clip run more than 10 seconds. So yeah, you chop it at the 9th second, skip to the other, and like the interval should be 9 seconds. So I did a whole little operation there for a BTS concert. It's not going to be such a fun vlog. I think the value of my vlog is that you get to see the full comments of the members and maybe the vibes of the rain and the third floor view. um, I was too shy to film a lot of my reactions, so don't expect too much from it. But it is what it is. It's just an archive for myself, and I don't think it fully fits my KPC channel and the direction I'm going with right now. So I'm actually gonna upload it on either DKDK or Just David, but use the collaborate function to upload it on KPC again simultaneously. So yeah, you'll see it from the viewer's point of view. You'll see it no matter what. So yeah. Okay. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Bye, guys. Yeah. I'm usually a nice person that, yeah, says goodbyes very long, but bye. I'm gonna go to sleep. Bye. Check out Patreon. Bye bye. Have a good night, everybody. Bye. Bye.